Clicking live with a squeaky flow. We'll knock you down like a domino. Hey, TikTok, time to rock.
Stop goofing around and let's go
Good.
live.
What'd you say?
Stop goofing around. Let's go live.
We're already live, man.
Oh, sorry.
Did the Dizzle ever sleep? Yes, just not much. Not much. How's everyone doing? Hey, everyone been following what's going on? Yeah, I was just checking to see if anyone's talking about what's going on with, let's see, in the video, God Logic just premiered. Lily sounded depressed and anxious. Yeah, I just clicked on that, just checked out the beginning. HH proud kafir. Not going to go well for Ali Dawah. The whole beginning section, the only section that I saw was him whining about God Logic being okay with people ripping the Quran. He's, oh, please, we would never do that. I'm thinking, seriously, the guy who openly says that he wants to eat popcorn while watching apostates being executed, and the buddy with Muhammad hijab who talks about people's wives and all this stuff. You guys are the and you guys who follow Muhammad, who when he took over Mecca, he went to the Kaaba and stabbed all the idols with a stick in order to degrade them and so on. Like, this is, you're the completely inoffensive guys, right? You would never offend anybody. No, you guys have nothing but contempt for everyone else and their religious practices. You take over their churches, you take over their synagogues, you take over their temples. You do this to degrade them.
Life?
What's that?
You take their life too?
Take their lives, subjugate them. What do you do? What do you do to the daughters? What do you do to the daughters? What do you do to the 12-year-olds, guys? You know. But we would never do that. We're the nice ones. My goodness, no. That's when you're in a minority and you can't slaughter us all. Then suddenly, oh, we're being persecuted. Yeah, isn't it? We're being persecuted. So anyway. Oh, yeah. And then we have, hang on. There is might as well mention this real quick. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah, so we have Jewish Samantha. Let's see. Jewish Samantha here says terrorist attack just happened now at an event in downtown Boulder, Colorado. Yeah, there was a guy there. And we got a couple of people mentioning that. So we've got Vasily here. Says there was an Islamist attack in Boulder, Colorado today. Apologetics Roadshow. Yeah, so I saw that guy.
I only saw...
Okay.
Yeah, so go ahead.
No, I was just saying that... it was still breaking when I checked it out, but it was a guy, he's identified, named Muhammad, but he was standing there with Molotov cocktails and apparently set some people on fire or something like that. That's all I saw. So I don't know if there's more news out since then.
Yeah, it was a pro-Israel rally or event.
Yeah, for the hostages, right? For bringing the hostages home or something like that.
For the hostages, to assert pressure to free the Israeli hostages, and then a Muslim guy went there and started setting people on fire and shouted "End Zionism" and all that.
Mm-hmm. Looks like he heard globalize the Intifada and decided to roll with it. But it's just this weird situation that you see everyone's doing this, like on all these college campuses, calling for this uprising and calling for violence and so on. And then we say, no, don't do that. And people, what? Why do you keep talking about this? Because this is what happens. Because if you let people stir up the entire world to go and commit violence against someone, well, you're going to get violence unless you respond to their stupid claims. What?
You see the comparison. So many pro-Palestine protests, nothing happens to anybody, and then there is a pro-Israel event, and then some guy turns up and starts setting elderly and children on fire, and it's considered justified.
And here's what's crazy is all that's going to do is strengthen people's resolve. It's like the same dynamic as attacking. It's the same dynamic as Hamas attacking Israel. Hey, that's not going to make them stop or back down. It's just going to tick them off. But it's similar here. Oh, you set some people on fire. Guess what? The next one of these events is probably going to have way more people. Probably going to have way more people at it. What is that nonsense you're drinking? Is that Barks root beer?
Who are you talking to?
Talking to my Aunt Maple. Who do you think I'm talking to? Anyway, all right, guys. So everyone been following what's going on over in the UK? We got GodLogic over there. And some others. And he's just been nonstop going into train stations, hitting up to places where the Dawa guys go. Speaker's Corner today. And it's fun. It's interesting because I assumed Ali Dawah would be running the entire time, because that's what the entire Dawa crew did last year when we showed up. They all ran like scared little cowards. But Ali Dawah actually had a discussion with GodLogic last night and then today at Speaker's Corner. So we're going to go through the discussion from last night. Have you seen this, AP?
I didn't see any bit of it. I only saw that that GodLogic did appear there yesterday, and then today he's premiering it on his channel, having a discussion in Speaker's Corner, and wearing his Chef Logic outfit. So that's all I see.
Yeah, and there are a few main sections. We're not going to go through all of this because it's like, I don't know what it was, an hour and a half or so, hour and 15 minutes or something like that. We're going to go through a section of it. But at first, GodLogic shows up and he's just, Ali Dawah spends, I don't know how long, 15 minutes just selling prayer rugs with GodLogic there. He's like, yeah, I was going to sell the prayer rugs. Yeah, with it. And he's just making announcements on selling prayer rugs. And then they have a discussion about the Antichrist and Ali Dawah saying that Christians are the ones who are going to fall for the Antichrist because Christians are the ones who believe that God became a man and the Antichrist is going to be a man who claims to be God. And so Christians are the ones who will fall for it. And then GodLogic, of course, he had two main things. I'll probably make a separate video on this. But GodLogic made two main points. So one, he quoted the Hadith where people are going to have trouble distinguishing between the Antichrist and Allah. And so it's like, oh, and he's got curly hair and he's short and this and that. Oh, and he's got one eye. And well, how do we know the difference between him and Allah? Well, because Allah has two eyes. And so GodLogic points out that, wait a minute, if the only way to distinguish this guy, this man from Allah is that Allah has two eyes and he has one eye, then what follows, Allah looks just like a dude. He looks just like, he looks just like him. It's just, he's got two eyes. So you guys believe that people, oh, and then the other point GodLogic brought up was that, according to the Hadith, there are going to be Muslims who fall for the Antichrist. So when he's like, Christians is going to fall for this, yeah, but the Muslims, we won't. Like, your prophet says they will. Oh yeah, but what we going to do? So it's just really dumb. So we're not going to go through that. We want to get through this argument that Ali Dawah keeps using, this contingency argument, which is just, there's a contingency argument for the existence of God. And then I've seen one or two Dawa guys try to use the contingency argument to argue against the Trinity, but Ali Dawah uses it in the dumbest way ever because he doesn't understand what he's saying. He uses it to argue against the incarnation. That since Jesus' human nature is contingent and his divine nature, it would be necessary. Therefore, if you say that his divine nature entered into creation in a contingent body, therefore, this would be a contradiction because something can't be both necessary and contingent at the same time. And so, Hatun, were you ready to leave Christianity after seeing that?
Actually, I was thinking, is there any possibility that Ali Dawah can do a little bit more study? So short answer to your question, no, I wasn't convinced. But today, probably you will see after this stream, Ali Dawah kind of didn't get enough because he was trying to figure out squares and circles, beings and persons, all those kind of things. He bought GodLogic birthday present from a shop. Apparently he paid £30 and he spent almost an hour to wrap it, buy the wrap, all that kind of thing, and then give him puzzle for 3-year-old kids. You would buy like square circles, kids put it in to make sure GodLogic understand that there is a problem in Trinity. That's what he tried to do.
Yeah. So AP, you kind of missed it, but we'll see some of that now. So Ali Dawah just goes all in on this argument. Instead of almost everyone who tries to illustrate something that can't exist, they give the example of a square circle. Ali Dawah insisted on square triangle, and after insisting on a square can't be a triangle because a square has 4 sides and a triangle has 3 sides and so on. And God Logic was like, well, you could put them together, right? You could put a square and a triangle together, like you could put a divine nature and a human nature together. And then Ali Dawah was like, oh, but that would look like a house, isn't it? That would look like a house. It's like a triangle. Somebody was like, he sounds like a 5-year-old watching Sesame Street, figuring this stuff out. But yeah, he went all in. He went all in on the shapes, and then that became his entire argument. And then he shows up at Speaker's Corner today, and he brings God Logic like a little kid's thing with shapes and so on. But God Logic starts breaking it down, starts using it, and he's like, hey, I only saw a couple of minutes of this one, but God Logic starts using it. He takes a square, and he goes, okay, if I take this square, and I put it, and I connect it to this triangle, is that a contradiction? Muslims like, yes. It's like, wait. You guys, you're saying if I put a square beside a triangle, that's a contradiction? Yes. Anyway, it's oh boy, that's what we're dealing with, guys. That's what we're dealing with.
Man. The funny thing is, Ali Dawah brought up the contingency argument to me in our attempted debate before, which turned into a curse fest. And he already did a horrible job. So I'm not sure why he would bring that stuff like that up in response to Christianity. It's so stupid. He used
the contingency argument for God with you, right?
Yeah.
That's different. That's a situation where you can make a logically tight argument for the existence of God, and so you have to reject one of the premises.
No, the thing is, you could do that. The thing is, he didn't even begin to understand the argument. It was doing a horribly dumb job. And just hearing that he would use something similar in this case to argue against Christianity, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, and again, it's the way he used it. As he's starting off, I think he's going to make an argument against the Trinity with this, like by arguing, well, is Jesus dependent on the Father? Well, therefore he's not independent, and therefore something along those lines. But no, he just argued, no, Jesus has a human body. That's contingent. Therefore, he can't be necessary. And that was it. Like incarnation out the window, all that stuff. And so, anyway, very interesting. So guys, we're gonna I'll probably scroll through because I don't know exactly where that starts. So we'll scroll through a little bit of this discussion, and we'll get to Ali Dawah's contingency argument, and we'll find out why he just contradicted Islam and actually destroyed his own theology of Allah, his own theology of the Quran, without realizing it because he's so obsessed with attacking. It reminds me of like a few years ago when he was saying that God can't enter into his creation. You remember that, Hatun? Yep. When he was saying God can't enter into his creation, and then people pointed out eventually, like the Quran, I mean, the Hadith says that Allah enters his creation because he has to go hear people's prayers, and he says, "Oh yeah, he enters his creation, but in a way that befits His Majesty." It's like that's not what you said. You said Allah can't do it. You said God can't do it, and then as soon as it gets pointed out, no, God does that in your sources. Then it's but it's in a way that befits His Majesty, isn't it? And it's just like, what are we dealing with?
It is not his fault if he didn't know about those hadiths, and then Christians or critics of Islam stepped in and then shoved him these hadiths. He went home and then improved his answer, and same like AP just said, like, oh, he used this argument on me. Well, now he needs new guinea pigs.
Yeah.
And his new guinea pig was GodLogic. He's gonna see if it's gonna work or not.
When you said it's not his fault, I thought you were going to say it's not his fault. He's stupid.
I was going to say that. I just thought it would be so rude.
It would. It would have been really rude, and I would have objected. I would have said, hey, come on. We know he's stupid. We know he's stupid, but it doesn't mean you have to say it.
So if you ever teach in like kids in the church to the kids, you are telling things and then you get to see how they are processing what you just told them. Ali Dawah was exactly the same thing when he was like using square and triangle as the example of house, and then hitting the triangle, and then he broke the house. You just like, you are seeing he just tries to understand what he was trying to say. And then how it's just interesting. He's desperately in need of Jesus.
Here's the thing. I don't understand why people like Ali Dawah or even Mohammed Hijab or others try to engage in these arguments. This is the shortcoming of Islam. So in Islam, in Islamic theology, in history, in early history, in medieval history, but especially with their understanding of Islam, they are both Salafis. So they subscribe to a traditionalist understanding of Islam, of theology. According to their theology, which they subscribe to, they're not supposed to philosophize over these things. They're supposed to just say, this is what it says. We don't know how. We don't know why. We don't know how. We cannot explain it. We are not supposed to understand it.
They're supposed to say bila kaif, right?
Yeah,
without understanding.
Do not ask how. Do not ask why. We don't know. This is what they're supposed to say. It is specifically determined in their. So it's called Athari theology, which is the traditionalist theology. Specifically in their theology, they are supposed to respond to such questions about the nature of Allah and the parts of Allah and all that with, this is what is stated. We don't know anything else. We don't know any further, or we can't compare it to anything else. This is beyond compare, beyond our understanding, and so on. Of course, this brings up logical issues, logical problems, which you don't have in Christianity. So nowadays, because it is a very public thing, because they are Dawa guys, because they try to preach and they have to engage with critics, they feel forced to engage with these questions nevertheless. So they can't just say we don't know how. They try to argue, and when they try to argue, they get nowhere because it doesn't make sense. Their scholars, for a very, very good reason, concluded that what they must do is to say we do not know how, because they can't explain it.
Indeed. But it's just amazing that if you say you don't understand something, that you see, this proves that it's false. What a weird religion. All right, take a first couple super chats and then we'll jump into the video. I'm with Ali D on this one, yeah, and I'm proud of that. That's true.
Yeah.
Arctic based. Hello to D Wood AP and a beautiful woman. This is from Ida here.
What's up, Ida?
Ida. Shout out to Jack Ray for gifting 5 memberships. Let's see. Pride goeth before destruction, and the spirit is lifted up before a fall. It is better to be humbled with the meek than to divide spoils with the proud. Holy Joe, that is one of the most brilliant quotations I've ever seen anyone post. You should be a famous read. Oh, it's from Proverbs. Oh, interesting. Have a blessed, sacred heart of Jesus month.
This is just in time for Pride Month.
I think it's Pride Month. Yeah, I think it's Pride Month.
Yeah.
That's why everyone should watch and share Muhammad Meets Queers for Palestine. In GodLogic's video premiering now, Ali Dawah gave GodLogic a children's toy with squares and triangles to expose the Trinity, but GodLogic still destroyed him. I know, guys, they're giving us plenty of material to make videos about and do live streams about here. Idea Momo meets Joseph Smith with IP as Smith. IP is not right for that part. Gotta be a dashing man like myself. So proud of Ali Dawah learning his shapes. Someone should make that video, learning shapes with Ali Dawah. Hatun, that's what you should call yours, learning shapes with Ali Dawah, and grab yourself a little set and be like responding to him, but with little shapes, but like explain it for like a 3-year-old.
That would be painful though.
That's true. Let's see. Chef Logic versus a crackhead clown individual. Just to be clear on the crackhead clown thing, that's what Ali Dawah calls people. Every time I see AP with his wig, he reminds me of a beautiful model princess from Ancient I'm Sorry.
What do we...
Oh, beautiful model princesses from Ancient I'm Sorry. He apologized. Ancient Iran, I mean. So when you wear your wigs, you remind Ida of beautiful princesses from Iran. Refutation, Ali Dawah is a square triangle, thereby proving it exists. That's true. Is it wrong of me to not be terribly concerned about Islam conquering, seeing as nearly every attempt by Muslims to unite collapsed in a couple of generations due to infighting?
I think that would be a pretty that would be a wrong sentiment, because the concern is not that they will actually unite and achieve something. The concern is that they will have massive numbers and impact. It is just because they are so dysfunctional that it's actually worse. Because
yeah, you're going to end up with chaos and
they
massive
will turn
destruction.
places they go to into very chaotic places. So
yeah. Trinity, infinity, certainty.
Certainty.
Classic. I was recently in Israel for the first time, and I relate to AP so much. I felt the same. So welcome, so good there. Life-changing experience. Oh, hi, David. Well, you're obviously not a Christian, or they would have spit on you the entire time.
Powerful.
I used to think Avery could cook, but after watching him talk with Ali Dawah, I am disappointed. I'm fond of medium rare. GodLogic cooked him well done. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shame on you. Some people like their steaks well done. It's weird. Ali Dawah would have destroyed GodLogic. He just needed some grapes and practice his shapes more. Hi, Hatun and AP. Oh, hi, David Wing. I mean Wood. Poor Ali Dawah. Forgetting it's Momo's month. writer of the Zutz and lover of his precious Dia. Better not see any homophobia from you. You won't. We celebrate Pride Month with Muhammad. GodLogic cooked Ali Dawah. Well done. He did.
Nice.
Sad and rude. Whoops, Celeria. Oh yeah, here we go. I'm getting here late, and once again, I cannot stay. However, I am most excited to see what Chef Logic was able to cook. Yeah, guys, I'm bringing this up because the reason I wanted to focus on the contingency argument is because if Ali Dawah and the Dawah, they're all copycats of each other. So if Ali Dawah is using this, other people are going to copy him, and people need to learn what arguments they're using and learn how to respond to them. 2 streams in a row with the same hairdo, AP. Have you found the change you were looking for?
I think so, yeah.
That's good. And Pride Month, Insha al-Zut. Yeah, got to say Insha. Insha al-Zut. That's the correct way to say it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and hey, do you know what this is, AP? What's the XP leaderboard stuff?
What's the XP leaderboard stuff? The experience leaderboard stuff? Well, I don't know. Oh wait, what the heck? What is that?
What are you even seeing?
What the heck?
What are you seeing? What?
On the chat, there is a community leaderboard.
Oh, okay. So that little crown thing?
Yeah.
What do I do? Do I click on this?
A place for fans to stand out in the community.
Oh,
the
I
top
clicked
3
on
get
it.
special badges in live chat. It resets every stream, so you can always try again. How do you collect experience points, send live chat messages, send super chats and super stickers?
Huh. Wow, there's a whole ranking.
This is insane, man.
So Kogato is number 1. Huh. Yeah, I still don't understand how this works. Or like, what
That's
do you
funny.
get?
I didn't even know.
Do you get anything? Hey, we should start giving rewards to whoever's at the top. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's new. So I don't know exactly what that is.
If I just in the chat now, do I get experience points? Let me see.
Yeah. I had my silver cross necklace on all the time, and unfortunately, nobody spat on me. Isn't that weird? I had a silver cross necklace on too, and nobody spat on me. I don't know. Maybe we're doing something wrong. All right, everyone. We ready to jump into this video? Here we go.
Yes.
Okay, so at first,
That's the first one. The first one we don't run.
keep in mind, this is Ali Dawah's. He actually, it's interesting. He actually has high quality video and audio. So going with his here, this guy who's there.
We don't run. Just saying. I hope
Who's a little midget?
you sent the message.
Bobby said a little midget. It's a little midget, intellectual midget.
Do you know him, Hatun?
No, I don't know him.
Yeah, I met him while I was there. I mean, I didn't like talk to him, but he was the guy who last year when I was there, when the Christian crowd started chanting Jesus Christ is Lord, he was the one kind of in the middle going amen. So the whole crowd was like, Jesus Christ is Lord, amen. Jesus Christ is Lord, amen. He was the guy who was saying amen, and he was the guy with Siraj. Matter of fact, this is relevant because we're going to get to it. He's the guy who kept asking Siraj, what's the angel's name? That's very relevant because he was talking about, they'd obviously had this discussion before. So here's how it goes. So there's, in the Quran, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to read this because it's relevant to Ali Dawah's contingency argument. But in the Quran, the story, it's Surah 27, verses 7 to 9. It's the story of Moses seeing the burning bush and so on. Moses goes over there, and a voice says, "Blessed is he who's in the fire and the one who's around the fire." And so who's the one in the fire? Who's the one in the fire? Well, the voice says, "I am Allah." And so if you ask the Muslims, they get very nervous about saying it's Allah in the fire, because that means Allah entered into a fire. And that's going to be a problem when they say Allah can't enter into creation as Jesus of Nazareth, right? Yeah. So they start saying it's an angel. It's an angel in the fire. Blessed is the angel that's in the fire. And so what you do is you say, okay, what's the angel's name? Because whatever speaks, it says, "I'm Allah." So that's the funny part. That's why. So this guy has an awesome approach. He'll say, who's speaking in the fire? And they'll say, "An angel." It's like, okay, what's the angel's name? Because whoever it is says, "I am Allah." Anyway, we're going to be taking a look at that. But anyway, that's that guy. We're not going to watch this.
Intellectual midget.
Already insulting.
You know.
Yeah, it is funny that Ali Dawah was always. We were just talking about this with the as far as groups that love to insult everyone else, but as soon as you say anything insulting towards them, they cry like babies, and that's Ali Dawah. So anyway,
I'm stuck at 75 points, man. What is this?
Come on, man, you got to do better. So this is Ali Dawah, and he's selling his prayer mats.
Yep.
Wait, those are prayer mats?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Is there something written on the prayer? What is going on?
It is to guide like someone who never prayed. So you are you are holding your hand like this. This is what you say. You go down, ruku. This is what you say. So it's just like they just wrote down what you say in every steps.
Huh. Oh, so you could just kind of be looking at the floor the entire time. You could just be looking at your mat the entire time. What am I supposed to do now?
Yeah. So when someone becomes a Muslim, apparently they, according to them, they have to teach them how to pray. So you've got someone who teaches you how to pray, but sometimes people join you in the Zoom and then you need to memorize it all. So everything is written in that mat. You just like do it by yourself.
That makes sense. Yeah, I was like AP. I was like, what is that all over there? It's like, seems like it would be distracting and stuff. But okay, so it's a prayer rug for beginners who need to know how to do everything. That makes sense. What's crazy is, so at first he's talking about his prayer mats and stuff, and then eventually GodLogic shows up, and then Ali Dawah spends like the first 15 minutes. He finally gets to have a discussion with GodLogic, and Ali Dawah spends like the first 15 minutes talking about his prayer mats until GodLogic gets kind of, he's like, okay, this is not going anywhere. So he kind of walks away and starts talking to someone. Then Ali Dawah, where's it going? Where's it going? I thought we was here for a debate. Yeah, isn't it? And it's just, it's absolutely insane. But yeah,
Is that Kendrick Lamar there? Oh. So, hey, this just gave me an idea. So, prayer rugs with instructions on them. What if you started selling prayer rugs that have like these screens on them that you can replace, or that you can put stuff on, and then it could be like advertisements, like billboard prayer rugs, so you could play advertisements on them. And then every time you pray, you actually get money for the advertisement.
Yeah. And then like you could have sponsors, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it puts a stamp on there for like this halal beef company and stuff like this. And they get the stamp on your prayer mat and stuff. And then like all these companies want their stamps on like the prayer mats of like the coolest Dawa guys and stuff.
Yes, exactly.
This would be awesome.
I think they do have something like that. I remember seeing a video. So they collect lots of money from people, donations, lots of donations from people, and then give these rugs to new converts. I remember seeing a video where he was simply like saying, thanking for people for their sponsorship, and I'm pointing out like it's not only rug, he's got like other things they are selling people as well. Or giving, I don't know if selling or giving, but they've got something like that, like your name is put on other side of it or something.
Interesting. All right, let's play a couple. We're not going to watch much of this, but just to show what's going on here.
To his father.
They said shh.
Yeah, he prostrated to his father.
How does that look like?
He just bowed his head on the ground. Actually,
was it about like this, like when ruku, or was it like this?
I don't know.
Now, which one would you say? Do you think it was more like bowing ruku?
I think it was probably laid out flat on the ground. Actually.
Flat,
Yeah.
like full flat.
Yeah. Probably like full face on the ground.
Where'd you get that from?
And that's because it said.
Hatun, is this where he's supposed to? Is this where he starts talking about the Orthodox?
Yeah, someone is gonna come up. So here's the thing, Ali Dawah, they say, oh, Jesus prayed like Muslim, all that prophets prayed like Muslims. And then this conversation is gonna go on. They can't even figure out how Abraham prayed, how Jesus prayed. But someone is gonna come who claims to be previously Christian, who's been Muslim for 17 years, is gonna express like, oh, Orthodox Christians pray the same, and then shows a clip of it. This is that part, yeah.
AP, are you just trying to take over the leaderboard?
Yeah, but I'm not getting any points, so I'm not sure what's happening here.
That's pretty funny, though. It'd be funny if you aren't allowed to get any points because I've blocked you or something.
I'm stuck at 75. Like, I just made a bunch of chats, now I'm stuck at 75. I'm trying to do super chats now, but I'm still not getting any points. I don't know what's happening.
Maybe it's a situation where it takes him a couple minutes to kick in. But you can just keep putting in super chats and see what happens. All right.
He fell down. He fell out on the floor.
No, I know Phil, but like to say that, I'm not trying to be funny. To say that
Sometimes that's how that. Yeah, they were stretched out on the floor sometimes in the frustration.
Yeah. I don't know about that. Yeah, I think most likely we have this. This is called the ruku, or I would say it's sajda. Yeah, one of those two. Because the thing is, the act of, for example, when you're forward, when you're laying flat down. Yeah, it's more humbling. It's more humbling. But I would just say, me personally, I would say this or these two. But that's besides the issue. Okay. So this is a guy.
More humbling. You know what's most humbling, Ali Dawah? Tell you the story about Muhammad and the men of Al-Zut. If you want a really humbling experience, read that story. That is massively humbling.
I'll be waiting for you.
You should teach them to pray like Jesus.
Yeah, but look. Wudu, look, let me just tell you about the project so you understand. So your viewers can understand what we're doing.
We understand what you're doing.
No, not me. The project. Let me tell you about the project.
Okay, but the project is the wrong way. You got to teach them to pray like Jesus.
Before we go
And this amazing, guys, it's he gets a showdown with GodLogic, and then he does this for the entire beginning. You're killing your views here, Ali Dawah. You're killing your views. What is this?
Showed us, look, Jesus, look. That's an Orthodox.
So it's kind of like Muslims got it from the Orthodox Christians.
No. We were saying.
Okay, hang on. Let me back up here so we can see what's going on with this Orthodox thing.
And he says to say Jesus prayer.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, that's deep, actually. Dawood, one second. Can I ask you a quick question? What was you before you came to Islam?
Christian.
Is that how long you been a Muslim?
17 years.
17 years. SubhanAllah, he was a Christian before.
So he's showing you how Orthodox Christians pray?
Yeah.
They call it the Jesus prayer.
This is how he prayed.
So why do you guys say that Muslims pray like Jesus?
No. We believe. Look, he just showed us. Look, Jesus, look. That's an Orthodox.
So it's kind of like Muslims got it from the Orthodox Christians.
No. We were saying that they probably prayed a similar way because we believe Islam was there from the day dot from Adam.
So here's the thing: Orthodox Christians don't pray that way. When you come and say that, this Orthodox Christians pray like this too, and then Ali Dawah, of course, is like, "Oh yeah, look at this! Yes, look, he just showed me. This is how Orthodox Christians pray too. You see, yeah." It's like, if this was the way that Orthodox Christians pray, he would probably know this. I mean, you would probably know this, considering that Orthodox Christians are not a very small group of Christians. There is a prostration that Orthodox Christians do.
He said they call it the Jesus prayer. I'm not familiar with that.
No, the Jesus prayer is just a short prayer that goes Lord Jesus.
Son of God, have mercy on me.
Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah. But it's not just that you do that is what you do when you do a prostration. It's just that so there is a prostration that you can do. There is a half prostration, a full prostration. You do full prostrations sometimes, but you generally don't do that as like a regular prayer. It is rather something that you do in private, or something that is that you do in asceticism, in monasticism. Sometimes during Great Lent, for example, prostrations are done, but only several times a day if you. And it's not like it's required or anything. So this is just a certain act that you do. It's called great metanoia. But this is not how Orthodox Christians generally pray. Throughout the year, throughout the week, as you go to the service, you don't end up prostrating. You just stand and pray. That's it.
Also, think about the ridiculous level of stupidity here. So it's, hey, Jesus prayed like Muslims. This proves he's a Muslim, isn't it? No, because Jesus didn't pray like Muslims. But even look here, you got the Orthodox in it, and they's be bowing down like us. See, so this is the proof. It's like, wait a minute, are they Muslims? No. Why? Because they're saying the wrong stuff, right? Huh. So saying the right stuff is required, right? All right. Well, do the math on that one and look at what Jesus said. But anyway, let's see. We'll watch another couple seconds of this, and then we'll skim through some more.
So the gentleman who expressed that he converted into Islam, as he tells Ali Dawah, this is Jesus' prayer. It gives the impression that Ali Dawah understands that as this is how Jesus prayed, therefore Orthodox Christians are doing the same thing. That's what Ali Dawah kind of gets it. Amazing level.
And the thing is, again, because this always comes up, prove Jesus was a Muslim. Oh, look right here. He prostrated. You see, this is the proof. Okay, you're saying some other. If another group prostrates, does that make them Muslims? No. It's like, wait, make up your mind, guys. Make up your mind, man. Weird stuff.
You wouldn't say that they're Muslims.
Let's watch this first. Let's see.
You wouldn't say that they're Muslims.
No, we believe every prophet is a Muslim.
No, I mean like the Orthodox Christians, how they're prostrating, they're doing the...
No, of course not. But if he's praying like Jesus, he's got it from scripture.
Okay.
So, I don't know where you got the whole thing from. Like,
let's see, some of the prophets were late.
It's funny, guys. Do you have any clue how dumb he sounds right now? If you're paying attention, Jesus is a Muslim. Why? Well, look, he bowed down and prayed. Okay, what do these guys do? Oh, they're bowing. They're bowing down like Jesus. Okay, so are they Muslims? No, but that means they're getting it from their scripture. Okay, but if Jesus did it, it means he's a Muslim, right? Because the only way someone would bow down is if they're Muslim, right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, these guys are bowing down like that. Yeah, they're getting it from Jesus. Are they Muslims? No.
So here's the thing. Prostration was done by some people, so in biblical times, there are certain biblical references where it is said that Moses, for example, fell on his face to pray. Based on this, during temple times, there were Jews who would prostrate, but it wasn't like a general everyday thing to do. It was just an occasional thing to do, and generally associated with repentance or with once again with asceticism, with monasticism, and all that. Early Christians adopted such practices. Orthodox Christians still have these practices, and they usually bring that back to biblical references and to also Jesus himself doing it. But this is not something that is considered like a common, general, frequent thing to do. It's usually associated with Great Lent or with severe repentance, with severe devotion, with praying in private, and so on. So that is all this is, and it is a practice that was that is very, very, very occasionally, very rarely found in the Bible to be done. As you know, it's not like it's something very common. So if some prophets or some people or some figures are described as having prostrated for a certain prayer in a moment of very, very, very strong devotion or repentance, what exactly does that mean for Muslims? It doesn't mean anything at all. It just means that this is a very strong way of expressing devotion or repentance, and so Muslims then got this practice and they copied it from others. This doesn't mean that just because it wasn't in those scriptures that they are somehow Muslims. This is so stupid.
It's extremely stupid. It's also stupid if you have an opportunity to debate GodLogic, you spend the first 30 minutes driving everyone away from the discussion by boring them out of their minds trying to sell your prayer mats. But let's see what we got here.
oh, block him.
What's that, Hatun?
That will help him for his marketing skills, because he's like saying, okay, hold the mat from here, hold the rug from here, ask people to give as well, and then he brings up, oh, we've got even Christian supporters, so it helps him to sell. That's why he's using him.
Yeah, and that's how do I put this? Because This is like embarrassingly stupid, everything he's saying. But he's getting donations while doing it. So he gets a ton of donations. He gets $5,000 worth of prayer mats and so on bought while he's live with GodLogic. And then he goes to Speaker's Corner the next day to have another showdown with GodLogic. Why? To sell more prayer mats, right? So, but he sounds like an idiot the entire time he's speaking. So it's basically Ali Dawah has monetized his own stupidity. Everyone got that? Ali Dawah has monetized his own stupidity. He's figured out a way to get paid from his own stupidity, right? Hats off to him. Hey, guys, if you're a complete idiot and you figure out a way to make piles of money from your idiocy, do it. I mean, what else are you going to do? What else are you going to do? And so anyway, I have an awesome career path for you. If you're really dumb and you want to make money off of being really dumb. Let's see here.
Admitted that Jesus is Yahweh.
Look,
do you agree with it?
Assalamu alaikum, bro.
I don't know if you agree with it.
Assalamu alaikum, bro. He's here. He's helping me.
Oh, this is where he called up a Muslim who had said that Jesus is Yahweh in a sense. And then Ali Dawah was trying to get him to respond. This is just weird stuff, man. Ali Dawah tries to call up a guy, say, well, why are you running from him? Why are you running from him? And he's like, this guy said that Jesus is Yahweh in a sense. And then he spends a while trying to get Ali Dawah just say you agree with him. Say you agree with him and so on. Anyway, I'm trying to get to anything. Something they're saying.
50 pounds. Yeah?
Yeah.
Come.
I want to know if you
Scan.
You agree with Orthodox Muslims.
Scan.
You answer the question.
Scan.
I'll donate if you agree with Orthodox Muslims.
First donate.
Do you agree first?
First donate.
Do you agree?
I thought so.
I thought so. Do you agree?
100. Guys, we're 162 pounds away.
Do you agree?
We're 162 pounds away.
You've got the coolest thing about GodLogic, apart from him being quick and awesome and stuff, is just like he'll be smiling the entire time and he's super happy, and Ali Dawah just looks miserable half the time and so on. That is good. He's good. GodLogic is like perfect for what he does. Been raised up for this purpose. What are you laughing at?
I wish he just agreed with Orthodox Christians here. That would be very cool.
Well, they're asking if Ali Dawah agrees with Orthodox Muslims. So he calls up Orthodox Muslim. Yo's what you think? Yeah. And GodLogic's like, hey, that's the guy who says that Jesus is Yahweh in a sense. Do you agree, Ali Dawah? And then he won't say. He won't say no, he's wrong, because then he offends the guy he's calling on for support. But he obviously can't say he's right, because then everyone's going to say Ali Dawah admits Jesus is God.
You can teach someone how to pray Salah.
But you got to teach them how to pray Salah.
Look, there. Brothers and sisters. Look, Alhamdulillah.
If
There you go.
Yeah, they're ready to
Scan it. Scan.
But you got to agree.
Scan.
Guys, he's pointing to the computer to show like the prayer mats he's selling and so on.
I'll put £50 in there.
50 pounds. You see?
If you
And
agree.
people are saying, I'll put this money in right now if you just answer the question. Do you agree with what Orthodox Muslims said?
You know what? I've got a message for the Muslims. Even Christians are donating.
If you agree.
Muslims.
Because we got a Muslim here who's agreeing that Jesus is Yahweh.
Even Christians are donating. Muslims. It's Dhul Hijjah. We've got Christians even believing the cause.
We got Muslims even believing.
We've got no logic. They believe in the cause.
Do you guys see how insane this is? So this is amazing. Ali Dawah calls in this guy. Yo, Orthodox Muslim. Tell GodLogic how he running from you. And GodLogic says, hey, this guy says that Jesus is Yahweh in a sense. Do you agree? Then they spend all the rest of the time. Ali Dawah, do you agree with him? Do you agree with him? Do you agree with him? And then the Christians start going, we'll buy one of your prayer mats, man. We'll buy prayer mats if you just answer the question. And they're showing him, look, I'll put in money right now. I'll push the button and give you money right now. And then he's going, oh, look at me, great. Christians are chipping in for the prayer mats. Yeah, this is so insanely stupid, but that's what you get. This is the Dawah hero of the world. Everyone, it's in his name. Ali Dawah.
People are paying him to be stupid, so he's doing a very good job.
He's doing a bang up job.
Muslims believing that Jesus is Yahweh in a sense.
Look, guys, Look,
Amen.
they are even believing
They're
this.
converting day by day. Right?
Subhanallah.
Converting day
Brothers
by
and
day.
sisters. Look, see?
Hallelujah.
Get this man, get this
We're
man.
ready.
A Christian is donating.
He agrees.
With Liviano.
And you're a Christian. And you're a Christian.
Yes, I am a Christian.
A Christian donating to the cause.
I haven't
Muslims.
donated unless
You
he
Muslims.
agrees
Yep.
to Liviano.
Look, our Christian.
Do you hear what the guy says? Ali Dawah? You see, even Christians are supporting. He goes, if you answer the question, I will submit this money. This is funny. What is this, man? Dawa is one giant clown show. So yeah, we don't want to keep up with that. GodLogic eventually walks away, and then Ali Dawah, where's he going? Where's he going then?
Where's he going? Bro, where is he going? We just got started.
Around 35 minutes.
Where you going, brother? Come back. Where you going? There you go. He's quit. He's already.
Can you imagine that? You travel and then you go and find Ali Dawah so you can have a discussion with him. You know where he's setting up his prayer mat booth. You go find him, and then all Ali Dawah does is try to sell his prayer mats, and then you eventually start walking and talking to someone that you can actually have a conversation with, and then where you going? I want you to come help me sell my prayer mats. Yeah. This Dawa, guys, this Dawa, is this what Muslims, is this what you wanted to see when GodLogic shows up to have a discussion with Ali Dawah? You wanted to see Ali Dawah spend all his time selling prayer mats? Just think about this. Muslims of the world. When GodLogic shows up, you got a bunch of Christians watching, got a bunch of Muslims watching, got a bunch of everyone watching. Popular guys. Two of the most popular guys right now. GodLogic's one of the most popular guys in Christianity. Ali Dawah is one of the most popular guys in Islam. Wouldn't that be a great time to show what arguments you have, what evidence you have? Wouldn't that be the perfect time? If you're just like, oh, get my prayer mat. Yeah, get my prayer mat. Doesn't it sound like you don't want to have a discussion about this stuff and you're trying to distract? Or that all you care about is money for prayer mats? Doesn't it sound like that? Anyway. So you've got this guy, I know this guy. This guy's awesome. He starts trying to get Ali Dawah to address a verse of the Quran. Ali Dawah doesn't understand it. He doesn't know what the guy's talking about. So this is David. He's cool. But Ali Dawah won't even address it. But anyway, you guys can check that out. That's on Ali Dawah's channel. Links in the description. But Ali Dawah won't. It is cool that he's got his arm around Ali Dawah and stuff like that. That's all nice. Ali Dawah won't answer, and Ali Dawah really wants to get back to selling prayer mats and so on. Then GodLogic comes back. They end up talking about the Antichrist for a while. I'm not sure where we are in the discussion here. I've just been scrolling through. Let's watch a couple seconds of this, and then we're going to find out where the contingency, Ali Dawah's contingency argument. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you tune in late, want to show how to respond to Ali Dawah's really dumb argument because all his fans are going to be using the same stupid argument. That's what they do. You give them a stupid argument, they all run with a stupid argument.
Fully man, fully God.
Okay, he was a man.
You believe Allah's man?
And he is God.
Over there.
Now I'm asking a simple question. The Antichrist, when he comes back, and he's got powers, because the Bible says he's got powers, he's going to do some things, that normal people can do. And he comes and says, I am God.
I divide the moon?
Would the Christians or the Muslims fall for his trap?
You see this? Ali Dawah's argument is Christians are going to fall for the Antichrist because Christians believe that God became a man, Jesus of Nazareth. And therefore, when the Antichrist, who's a man, says that he's God, Christians are going to be the ones that fall for it, not Muslims. With that, let's see what GodLogic does.
The Muslims. Muhammad says the Muslims will fall for it. What are you talking about?
I know that. I'm talking about...
Did you?
I know that.
Did you just catch that? Let me rewind this, guys. Just try to get your mind around this point. This is so insanely dumb, right? Ali Dawah is trying to attack Christianity by saying that when the Antichrist comes, he's going to be a man, but he's going to claim to be God. Who's going to fall for that? Christians are going to fall for that because they believe that God has entered into creation as Jesus of Nazareth. Therefore, they'll fall for a man claiming to be God. All right? That's what he says. So Christians, not Muslims, are going to fall for it. And GodLogic says, Muhammad says that Muslims are going to fall for it. Ali Dawah, yeah, I know. So he knows that his own prophet says Muslims are going to fall for it, and he's saying Muslims aren't going to fall. This is amazing stuff. Let me back that up so everyone gets that point. I didn't want to go through this whole Antichrist section, but Ali Dawah just made this so fun.
Sorry. They believe, I don't want to give any excuse. They believe Jesus was a man. Was he a man?
He's both. Fully man, fully God.
Okay. He was a
You
man,
believe Allah's man?
and he is God.
Over there.
Now I'm asking a simple question. The Antichrist,
Yep.
when he comes back, and he's got powers, because the Bible says he's got powers, he's going to do some things, that normal people can do, and he comes and says, I am God.
Like divide the moon?
Would the Christians or the Muslims fall for his trap?
The Muslims. The Muslims. Muhammad says the Muslims will fall.
I love it. Ali Dawah is trying to make it. Are the Christians or the Muslims? Who's going to fall for it? Muslims. Oh, boy. Let him finish.
What are you talking about?
I know that. I'm talking about
Okay, so what do you
generally.
mean?
I'm talking about
I'm talking about generally.
I'm talking about, what does it even mean? I'm talking about generally.
Oh boy, this is funny. But Hatun, anything you want to address, Hatun, out of this section before I find the contingency argument?
That's from minute 52. No, like we don't need to dig in. That is Islamic tradition talks about how Allah has curly hairs, steps into the creation, all those kind of things. Difference between Allah and Dajjal is Dajjal has some eye problems. Allah is just perfect. So, and clearly Muhammad warned people that only way they cannot fall away is knowing how nice Allah's eyes is. So don't fall away.
This is the funny thing. On the one hand, Muslims go around teaching and preaching that that Allah definitely is completely outside His creation and cannot and will not enter His creation. On the other hand, you have Muhammad suspecting that some little kid in his presence at his time could have been the Dajjal, and he warns about that kid who also has apparently like an eye problem, or one of his eyes doesn't see or something like that, or I don't know, maybe it's plugged out or something, I don't know, but so he says. In context of that, he says that the Dajjal, he will come, the false Messiah in Islam, he will come, and he will claim to be Allah, but he only has one eye. But you should know, you believers should know that Allah is not one-eyed, so therefore you should not believe him. So while claiming that Allah is completely outside His creation, cannot enter His creation, he also then makes it look like Allah could technically enter creation, but if this guy comes and claims that he is Allah, but he only has one eye, then we should know that this is not Allah, because Allah has two eyes. So Allah would then appear as a two-eyed guy, not as a one-eyed guy.
It's seriously interesting because you have another story. This is in the history of Tabari, where Allah makes a statue of Adam, like before he gives the statue life, and Satan sees this statue and he can't tell if it's Allah or something else, and so he crawls in through the mouth, and then eventually works his way out through the butt, not into the butt because that would be al-Zut, but. But so he works his way out, and then he says, aha, I have figured out that is not Allah, because Allah is solid and this is hollow. There's a hollow place through it and so on. But anyway, notice it's Allah somehow looks exactly like a human, and you can't tell the difference until you know that Allah is solid. Well, then you have, as AP's pointing out, you have these hadiths. And for anyone who wants the sources, I'll probably make a video on it. I'll probably make a video on it this week, just because this is a fun topic. But as AP pointed out, you have these prophecies of Muhammad. Muhammad says, you got the Dajjal. The Dajjal is going to come along. He's going to get a bunch of followers. Then he's going to announce that he's God and so on. He's going to have curly hair. He's going to be short. Goes down the list. And then, but how are we going to tell the difference between him and Allah. Well, Allah has 2 eyes, but this dude has 1. So he's got, as Hatun was pointing out, he's got some eye problems. Today Muhammad would say, the Dajjal, he wears spectacles, whereas Allah, he has perfect 20/20 vision. So just give an eye test, an eye exam when the Dajjal shows up and so on. Well, guys, what's the implication? What's the implication of saying, how are we going to tell the difference between the Dajjal and Allah? Oh, you got to count up the eyes. Count up the eyes. What's it mean? It means that, and just so everyone knows, God Logic points this out repeatedly to Ali Dawah. I encourage everyone to watch that whole discussion. It's just we're not going to watch it because it's a long video, and I wanted to get to the contingency argument. But guys, get your mind around that. It really sounds like Allah is identical to the Antichrist, the Dajjal, who's going to be right in front of them. What's that mean? It means that Allah looks exactly like a human being, and that he's almost indistinguishable from this short curly-haired guy. So if Allah is indistinguishable, then Allah looks exactly like a human being. Why wouldn't Muslims fall for this? Weird stuff. All right. You said what, Hatun? 51?
I think 52-ish.
52-ish? Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
So they eventually get to the contingency argument. I'll start a little after 51, and then we'll see.
I gave up. I quit. I tapped.
Yeah, I know.
No problem. Let's move on. Okay.
Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah, the God Logic still crushing him on this, and Ali Dawah says, I tap. I give up. And because he wants to go on to his contingency argument. Let's see.
Now, guys, the argument from contingency. This is an argument that, yes, contingency. Now, Christianity.
That's funny because God Logic's thinking what I thought. It's like, what, a contingency argument? That's an argument for the existence of God. Why would you be using that? But this is Ali Dawah. He doesn't understand the argument and doesn't understand how to apply the principles he's using. But here's the disturbing part every single time. You've got a guy who doesn't understand what he's saying, makes all sorts of stupid claims that sound stupid to anyone who understands what he's saying. But his followers don't understand what he's saying, but he's using words like necessary and contingent and so on. So it sounds like he knows what he's saying, even though he sounds like a complete idiot to anyone who's watching. That's the situation. Oh, boy. And guys, just, again, look at the faces. God Logic always happy. What's going on? Ali Dawah always miserable and sad. Guys, if all you had to go on was these two guys.
Islam or religion aside. Logic and rationale. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay. And this is from the Quran Sunnah. This argument is from Surah Ikhlas anyways. Now, bro, why this guy's shouting, bro? Can we go a bit further there?
Tell Sam. Yeah, we can.
Sam. Please, bro. Please. Sister, please. Okay, guys. Now, I want to know if Jesus... Hey, the party just started, bro. What's going on? Y'all trying to go... Oh, sorry. I thought you meant trying to live. Y'all trying to go. Okay. Anyways.
Hey, we actually got a smile out of Ali Dawah for a second. It actually... We saw some brief second of joy that he probably only ordinarily expresses when get another new Muta wife or something like that. Anyway... Take a couple super chats in it before we start this because we are to the moment where they start the contingency argument, everyone. This is his famous argument that is all about shapes. Shapes. Everyone got that? It's all going to be shapes. Let's zoom through some of these real quick. Pride Month be upon him. Yes, Al-Zut Pride Month. Pride Month is the favorite month of Al-Zut. We got a dumbbell. Ali dumbbell. Ali Dawah loves my grapes and I love his. That's FBI most wanted grape dangler. Most wanted grape dangler. For anyone who doesn't know about that, Ali Dawah likes getting fed grapes by dudes. It is I don't know. Yeah, I guess to each his own. Love is love, as they say during Pride Month. I recently got a copy of Al-Bukhari, and it is much easier to read than the Quran. Absolutely it is, but pretty much anything is easier to read than the Quran. But yes, the Hadith, Ibn Asaq, so the Sirah, Tafsir, Hadith, any of that is easier to read than the Quran. The Quran is extremely painful to read. IP and Avery in UK, any same plans for you from you, David and AP? I'm not allowed in the UK, so
I don't have any plans for the UK anytime soon.
Yeah, because you'll be.
I
humiliated.
did, but I had to cancel those plans. So I was supposed to go to an event, but I had to cancel that. Powerful.
Does Ali D sell them rugs that I can use on my porch? Yeah, you should grab one. Here we have all these dumb things from the apostate prophet. Oh, look at me, I'm the apostate prophet trying to get points because I'm obsessed with being number one at everything. Steele's ideas from AP. Steele's idea from AP. I'll make a prayer rug to advertise my golden shower body wash and put urinate upon one another. It's what we do. These are all good ideas. You can make, dude, you can make millions from the Ummah with that stuff. Do the rugs also come with a whiteboard, like a 2-for-1 deal? Wow, what a sale. Hey, someone should suggest that to, hey, someone suggests that. Someone suggests that. Matter of fact, guys, if you know Ali Dawah is going to be somewhere selling his prayer rugs, show up with a whiteboard and say, and if you act now, you also get this whiteboard for your wife to write on so she can communicate like an actual person.
That might even work like with the Zamzam water, because people are in Hajj now. As he's selling those rugs, he can say, well, you can get bottle of Zamzam water as well. It's only extra 50 pounds.
That is, yep. You can bundle all those items, ladies and gentlemen. With the instructions, you need to watch this Quran only guy short. Are Sunnis really that lost without Bukhari Hadith? Channel name Muhammad. That sounds interesting. You wouldn't know a lot about how to pray from the Quran. You got to have the Hadith.
Yeah.
You see, Ali D knows his stuff. Yeah, in it. That is true. And that's from Mrs. Ali Dawah. It's good that she learned her ABCs and is here communicating with us. This commie point board is rigged because I have 0 points. I've been sending super chats for years. I demand a recount. Yeah, we have to see if this thing is legit or not. Prayer mats for dummies at Amazon, lol. Prayer mats for dummies. What's al-zut? Yeah, a falafel, isn't it? It's something. There was an attack on Jews in Colorado. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier, and still waiting for more to come out. But guy was setting fire to people, and we've got to see how people react, because not the sort of thing you want catching on. That's a really sucky way to do things, like going and just using a Molotov cocktail or something like that, or some accelerant to set people on fire. Serious though, guys, I don't know why they don't emphasize this anymore, but when I was a kid, so this is like the early 80s, it was actually a regular commercial telling you what to do if you are ever on fire. So if you're on fire, someone sets you on fire, anything, and it was stop, drop, and roll. Y'all remember that? Those of you who are my age, you remember stop, drop, and roll? Because it's just interesting when people get lit on fire, they just run around screaming, ah, and stuff, and that doesn't help. That makes it worse. So if you get caught on fire, hit the ground and just start rolling, and it goes out.
The last time the last time we had a guy set himself on fire, and that wasn't a big problem. But now we have somebody setting other people on fire, which is unacceptable. So
yeah. If you absolutely must set someone on fire, just don't do it to other people. Farming XP like a nerd. I am so ashamed. Oh, is that on the leaderboard?
Yes.
This is weird. Avery got cooked like medium rare shawarma. No wonder he's not live. That's a good point. Yeah, they posted a video and said, GodLogic got cooked like fried chicken. I was like, wait a minute, what? That sounds pretty racist. I really don't understand their claim about Islam being in the start from Adam, and they also believe Muhammad was the first prophet to bring Islam. Yeah, they can kind of reconcile that, but yeah, you've got Abraham's the first Muslim, Adam's the first Muslim, Muhammad's the first Muslim, so they have to kind of come up with explanations of like, oh, first Muslim in that context. It doesn't work. It doesn't work if you go through the passages, but no one said that the Quran is the most consistent book out there. These Dawa clowns act like they invented prostration. Their entire way of saying their prayers is a combination of pagan, Christian, Jewish, and Zoroastrian ways of praying, all of which came way before. That's pretty much the entire religion. The entire religion is like that.
I'm seeing
Well,
Just updates from the event, from the attack. I'm seeing just a photo of a person who was attacked and whose body was burnt in the fire. She was holding an American flag and an Israeli flag and protesting for the hostages, and she was set on fire right there. And you can see that her skin is burnt and she's on the ground. And the terrorist's name is Mohammed Suleiman.
Yep. Definitely a Mormon. Definitely a Mormon, guys. How could Jesus be a Muslim if he prayed like a Muslim rather than as a Muslim? Powerful, powerful point. And here we have someone from Speaker's Corner here. Jude, the Dude TV says, they all run from me at Speaker's Corner, and now they're saying it's Moses in the fire. Also, would love to see you, would have loved to see you this year. Yeah, I would have loved to have been there. Sadly, the government has changed the rules on me being allowed there. Hey, Jude the Dude, are you the one who always asks him, what's the angel's name? Let me see. Al-Zut taught Muhammad, peace be upon him, how to prostrate first. Yeah, they did. That's what... See, here's the thing. Once you know the story of Muhammad and Al-Zut, it's pretty hard to get out of your mind that that's Muhammad's version of submission, right? Muhammad's display of submission is putting your face on the ground, your butt up in the air. I don't know. He kind of ruined it. Kind of ruined prostration for everyone, as far as I'm concerned. After this powerful display, Avery will change his channel's name to Allah Logic. How will D-Wood cope with losing his underlings to Ali Dawah's hikmah? Ali Dawah's got the... Ali Dawah has the least hikmah of anybody. Momo prostrated before Al-Zut. Don't cross the Diddy line, though. Ali Bawa needs to learn that the prayer rug's only good for gas leakage beside muzzies. This is very, I don't know why we got so much Islamophobic content in the comments. Ali Dawah cracked clown individual. No. Why are you guys so mean? Momo, my Quran bring all... Momo, my Quran bring all Azut to the yard. AP, that's your next song.
Mm-hmm.
About Allah's... I don't know if you know the song. My milkshake brings boys to the yard. Anyway.
Of course I do. It's my favorite song.
Ali D should quit Dawa and do cringe stand-up. It'd be good. As long as he sells his prayer rugs. Ali Dawa talking about General Lee. Was he? Happy Shavuot. How do you say that, AB?
Shavuot.
Don't lie.
Shavuot. Yeah.
Andrew says, a Muslim said that when the Quran tells Jews and Christians to judge by their scriptures, it only refers to legal judgments. Does this view work? No. I mean, in context, the next verse, 548, does talk about Allah giving a different laws to different people and so on. And in 543 and 547, Allah tells Jews to judge by the Torah and tells Christians to judge by the gospel. So you could say judging there, since it says law in verse 48, and it's applying a legal ruling, that you could make the argument. Problem is, you've got the other stuff the Quran says. You've got the other stuff the Quran says. And even in 48, it says the Quran affirms the previous scriptures, confirms the previous scriptures. But you've got all these verses where the Quran is saying over and over again that Allah confirms our scriptures, confirms our scriptures, confirms our scriptures. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to say, oh, just the legal ruling. Like what? The rest is corrupted, but except the legal rulings? Like people corrupted all the rest, but not the legal rulings. So you can trust the legal rulings. Make sure you judge by that. And again, it's the ongoing problem of Allah just not being clear. Hey, judge by your book. Okay, we'll judge by our book. Oh no, he only means on legal rulings and not what? Not theology. So it's the theological sections, those are corrupted, but the legal rulings, doesn't make any sense. There's no way out of this, guys. Momo, you have split Aisha's moon, but Al-Zut destroyed Uranus. People have weird minds. When you're feeling down, remember you're making a difference with the youth. My daughter called me and asked, when I get home, can you put AP and D Wood on the TV? You let your kid watch this? Mom went on my part too. Praise God. I'm just thinking about a kid watching this. What's Al Zut? What's Al Zut, Mom? What's that about? Oh, let me tell you the story. Ali Dawah's new product line is Zutagra. I'm screenshotting that. Instead of Viagra, it's Zutagra. That's the Al Zut version of Viagra. Interesting, he said, when the AC comes back, Antichrist comes back, and I feel sorry for the boy, eye problem and problematic fake prophet saying he could be. Yeah, it is a pretty disastrous situation. Poor Ali D, a gentle soul trapped in a 50 IQ brain. You'll finish, boy. This is true. Can I use my wife? Can my wife use that rug to, what is this? I guess you'd have to. I guess you'd have to if you're in, like, think about this. So, guys, this nasty, horrible, awful question. Can my wife use that rug to wipe semen off me? You think if you didn't know what's going on here, you'd be like, what kind of mean question is that? What's the point? It's Aisha's job in Muhammad's house. Her main job was wiping all the semen off him. But Muhammad would have the semen all over the garment that he wore to the mosque. So he's going to lead prayer in the mosque and stuff like this, and he's covered in semen. So he didn't have a problem with that. He didn't have a problem with wiping it on the wall and stuff like this. And Aisha would talk about she had to wash it off, scratch it off, scrape it off, all this stuff. And it's like, okay, so if Muhammad's fine with it on his clothes, wouldn't he be fine with it on his prayer mat? Pretty nasty.
Wouldn't you say their first option would be using earth to clean instead of using the prayer rug?
No, I mean, Muhammad's using his garment, so. It's just
not
nasty.
my area of expertise.
It's no one's. I've never heard of anyone with this problem ever in my life. And they're like, oh, but maybe he was just so poor that he could only use his mosque garments to wipe the semen off. Again, if we're assuming it's his. But he was such a humble man. Wait, he couldn't afford a rag? Couldn't afford a rag. So I'm like, let me. Okay. How Muslims? I'm seriously asking you. If you were back then and you knew what was all over his garment, not according to us, according to Aisha, what his garments were covered in, you gonna hug him when he leads your prayer? You gonna hug him after your prayers? You gonna hug this dude? Of course we will. We love him.
I will sacrifice my life to hug him with the semen on his section of clothes.
Of course, we love all of Muhammad's bodily fluids. What is this religion, man? But we're not idolaters. Y'all watching need to 434 that like button. He said but. Yes. It looks like zut. What's this show? Two Turks and a Jerk. That'd be a funny name for the show, Two Turks and a Jerk. I'm learning a lot about Allah's prophet, peace be upon him. Yep. Look into selling the Al Zut bundle pack. Comes with oil, Astro Sheen, the Diddy special, and a stick. Yeah, if you want to bundle everything, guys, be sure to get the Ali Dawah Al Zut pack. Guys, for GodLogic and crew are going to be out there for another several days and so on. So everyone be sure when you run into Ali Dawah to ask him if that's available in the special Al Zut pack, the Al Zut bundle pack. Andrew Wilson versus Ali D. Who logicked better? Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson is massively smarter and a massively better debater than Ali Dawah will ever be. Yes. Yeah, just made a new song. Yeah. My goat milk brings all zuts to the yard. Alhamdulillah. It's better than yours. Alhamdulillah. It's better than yours. I could teach you, but you pay jizya. Might be able to do something with that, AP.
Inshallah.
This leaderboard is the second greatest of deceivers. All right, we're almost through these. Face down, butt up. That's the way Momo likes Al Zut. That is true. Face down, butt up. Poor Hatun putting up with you knuckleheads. That is rough. You always got to wonder, like.
It is.
It's pretty terrible. All right. Do you not see half the crap parents let their kids watch? At least you guys are educational. I do use wisdom now. No, I always let my kids watch pretty horribly violent and stuff and so on once I thought it was somewhat age appropriate. And it was mainly, all right, got to prepare these guys for this violent world so they're ready for war. So they're ready for war. They don't think that this world is this gentle place. All right, everyone, we ready to jump into this? So this is Ali Dawah's contingency argument against the incarnation. Not a contingent. What's that, Hatun?
I was going to say before you play the video, so yesterday I was going to edit this video in the intention of how many questions Ali Dawah was asked and how many he answered. And then I just like, I can't bother to listen him again and again. I didn't do it. But if my counting was correct, he was asked over 20 questions and he answered only 3 questions clearly. Only 3 out of 20 questions.
That sounds like Ali Dawah. You're saying, so
Yeah.
You mean in the entire discussion or like this?
In entire discussion, like just, it's like 1 hour, 16 minutes or something.
Yeah, so Ali Dawah, he is not the best of question answerers, but he is the best of question dodgers and ignorers. These are the 5 D's of Dawah, ladies and gentlemen. You got to dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge. So here's Ali Dawah's contingency argument against the incarnation of Jesus, or against the deity of Christ. Here we go. And just so everyone knows, this is Ali Dawah's video from his channel. So if you want to watch the full discussion without interruption and so on, that's on his channel. The link is in the description box.
Okay, now, brothers and sisters, this argument is going to fully establish Tawheed or Trinity. Period.
Can you define Tawheed for me?
Now, brothers and sisters, let's go. Now, brothers and sisters, the first thing I'm going to say is this.
How does this argument even touch the Trinity? Let alone establish Tawheed. I don't know what to do here. This is dumb.
There are 3 types of existence.
3
Yes?
types of existence.
What?
GodLogic's about to burn him up on this. Don't miss this, guys. There are 3 types of existence. There are 3 types of existence. Hang on. GodLogic burns him up on this dumb thing. Even though this is what Ali Dawah wanted to talk about, right? Hang on. 3 types of existence. Hang on.
Or Trinity. Period.
Can you define Tawheed for me?
Now, brothers and sisters, let's go. Now, brothers and sisters, the first thing I'm going to say is this. There are 3 types of existence.
3
Yes?
types of existence.
There's 3 types of existence. Okay.
You got that? 3 types of existence. And now he's going to explain the 3 types of existence, everyone. Philosopher and brilliant theologian Ali Dawah here.
There is impossible existence.
Impossible.
Impossible existence is what is the first type of existence, ladies and gentlemen. You guys got that? Oh boy. So impossible existence, that's one type of existence. Okay, so we got that.
Existence.
Yes. There is possible existence.
There's possible existence.
And there is necessary existence.
All right, what define like?
I'm going to give you the definitions.
Yeah, give me an example of an
Okay.
impossible existence.
Okay, so there are 3 types of existence. Okay.
Wait,
Impossible existence
possible,
is
and
like having-
necessary?
The point is, impossible is not a kind of existence. It's not existence. It can't exist, right? So, but he's calling impossible a kind of existence. He's calling impossible existence one of the 3 kinds of existence. And it's funny because, like, GodLogic's just like, so that's not existence, right? Hang on, let me back up a little. Okay, here we go.
possible existence.
There's possible existence.
And there is necessary existence.
All right, define like?
I'm going to give you the definitions.
Yeah, give me an example of
Okay.
an impossible existence.
Okay, so there are 3 types of existence. Okay, impossible existence is like having a triangle square.
So does it exist?
No.
So it doesn't exist.
It's an impossible existence.
So it doesn't exist.
No, it won't exist. You can't have a triangle square.
So then there's only 2 types of existences right now?
No, we're
You get that? Like, Ali Dawah is the one who uses this as one of his main arguments now, and GodLogic just burns him up right at the beginning. So Everyone, in case you missed it, Ali Dawah says, there's three types of existence here. One, there's impossible existence. Then there's contingent existence. And then there's necessary existence in it. And God Logic is like, wait, what are they? Oh, yeah, impossible existence. He goes, give me an example. Like a square triangle, isn't it? Does it exist? No. Okay, it's not a type of existence. It's not. So and then God Logic points, so there are two types of existence, necessary and contingent. Yeah, that's right. And that's my point. It's Ali Dawah does not understand what the heck he's saying. And God Logic instantly understood what he was saying, instantly understood his argument better than he did, and had to correct him on like him setting up his argument. This is wild.
He admitted to me that he hasn't ever read a book, so I don't know why he's trying to philosophize here.
Oh boy, this is Dawa, guys.
When I first heard this, I just thought, oh, maybe I misheard it. I had to listen a couple of times. And then it got worse because GodLogic just told him, okay, that is not existent, like that shouldn't be on the list. But there will be like almost 15-minute discussion on what is that thing which is not on the list. They are going to discuss that for like long time.
Yeah, so everyone, you can break this down into 3 categories. You can also break it down into 4 categories. So something that exists necessarily is something that has to exist by its nature. If you're talking about in modal logic, they would say it's something that exists in all possible worlds. Something that exists necessarily exists in all possible worlds. Something that is contingent. Something that exists contingently exists, but it didn't have to exist. It depends on something else. And so in modal logic, that would be said, it exists in some possible worlds. And then you have something that is impossible, that exists in no possible worlds, or it's something that can't exist. You could also say, as GodLogic just pointed out, there are 2 types of existence. You could say there are 2 types of existence and 2 types of non-existence. So 2 types of existence would be something that exists necessarily or something that exists contingently. Necessarily, again, it has to exist. And if it's contingent, it exists, but it didn't have to. It could have been otherwise. And then 2 kinds of non-existence would be something that can't possibly exist. It can't possibly exist. So a square triangle, as Ali Dawah eloquently pointed out. Or it could be something that could exist, but it just doesn't. So like a unicorn, like could exist, could be, God could make one and so on, but doesn't happen to exist. So anyway, you can, if you wanted to put it in some sort of chain of being, you'd have to say, here's something that's impossible. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist because it's impossible. Then you'd have, here are things that could exist, but don't exist. Then there are things that can exist and do exist, but they don't have to. And then you get to things that exist necessarily, something along those lines. Just what? Everyone got that? Everyone got that basic idea? Because that's Ali Dawah's entire argument is going to be that Jesus, because he has a human body, according to Christians, is both necessary and contingent. And that's a contradiction. It's like saying that there's a square triangle. And he sounds like a big dummy here. Why are you laughing at this, AP? You don't think that's a brilliant argument?
Because it's too smart for me, man. I'm just laughing at myself for being very stupid.
AP is overwhelmed. Overwhelmed by Ali Dawah's logic here. All right, here we go.
Come to that. We're doing it bit by bit.
Oh yeah, we just eliminated one of them.
Yeah, that's the whole point. We're eliminated to come to Tawheed.
Okay.
The first one is an impossible existence.
Let me back that up, because he's breaking things down into these 3 categories in GodLogic, and we just eliminated one of them just by knowing anything.
There's possible existence,
And there is necessary existence.
all right. What define like?
I'm going to give you the definitions.
Yeah, give me an example of an
Okay.
impossible existence.
Okay, so there are 3 types of existence. Okay. Impossible existence is like having a triangle square.
So does it exist?
No,
So it doesn't exist.
it's an impossible existence.
So it doesn't exist.
No, it won't exist. You can't have a triangle square.
So then there's only 2 types of existences right now.
No, we're going to come to that. We're doing it bit by bit.
Oh yeah, we just eliminated one of them.
Yeah, that's the whole point. We're eliminated to come to Tawheed.
Okay.
You hear this? Eliminated until we come to Tawheed. Oh boy, this is funny, guys. This is funny. Well, all right.
Okay, the first one is an impossible existence. Why? How many sides does a triangle have?
3,
How many sides does a square have?
4.
So that's why it's an impossible existence, because you cannot have a triangle square.
So it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Okay, so that's not an existence.
Yes, but bear in mind, I'm going to...
He's still burning him up. Like, and I don't even think Ali Dawah gets it. He's so dumb. Oh, boy. This is Dawah, guys. These keep in mind, this is like one of the top couple Dawah heroes on the planet. One of his arguments that he's been working on for years, a Christian shows up and points out he don't even understand the basic concepts he's using. Sad.
come to the triangle square a bit later, but it doesn't exist. Now, we have two types of existence left.
Okay.
The possible existence is, for example, me, you, our planet, our solar system, the sun, the galaxies, etc. Why? My definition of a contingent being, a possible existence, is that something that relies on something else for its existence. It can be composed of pieces, and it can be any other way. So that means I am dependent, you are dependent, our planet is dependent, the sun is dependent, the galaxies are dependent, right? Now, we cannot have an infinite regress of dependent things. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, good. So,
Just to understand that point, everyone.
This problem has been solved 1,500 or 1,600 years ago in Christology. What he's trying to get to here, hasn't it?
He's just so everyone knows, he's raising the exact same objection as saying, I mean, what he eventually gets to it. His objection is the exact same thing as how can God die? Or how can God enter creation? Or how can God be born of a woman? Or how could God eat food? Or how could God do anything? It's just a question of how could God actually take on a human nature? Is that possible? And it's interesting because you'll get different answers from Muslims. You've got Muslims who say, no, he couldn't. And that's Zakir Naik. Zakir Naik say, if God enters into creation, he would cease to be God, which is weird because, again, Allah enters into creation, according to the Muslim sources. So there's that. But other Muslims will say, of course he can. And I remember in my debate with Jalal Abu Rub, or was this in his debate with, forget if this was in his debate with me or his debate with James White. No, probably in his debate with James White, because I was on the deity of Christ. But the issue gets raised, okay, are you saying that God can't enter? Like, if God wanted to, could God enter creation, take on human nature? Jalal said, of course he can, but he wouldn't. Or they'll say, yeah, he can, but he didn't. So you have Muslims who will acknowledge that God can enter into creation, but they'll say he doesn't. And you've got Muslims who say, no, God can't enter into creation.
How about David? So I'm a very new Christian. I'm a baby Christian, right? So I'm trying to. I have been. I'm trying to. I think I have kind of a grasp of Christology from over the years and from recent times. So here's the thing. As far as I understand here, Ali Dawah learned from one of his friends an argument. So he's trying to argue in a very long-winded way, instead of just getting to the point, as he likes to do, that the narrative that Jesus is both divine and human, so that Jesus is both God and human, is incoherent or illogical because it is logically contradictory and doesn't make sense according to contingency. So, isn't here the very simple solution to this, David? As determined in the ecumenical councils very early on in Christology, Jesus, not because he has to, but simply because God wants to, though he is fully divine, comes and takes on flesh, and is after becoming man, after becoming human, both fully divine and fully human, without, however, these two natures mixing with each other at all. Therefore, he is at the same time fully human and fully divine, and those two never mix. So they are not one. They're not the same thing. It is a union of two separate things. One of them is divine, and one of them is human. So therefore, this whole objection that he can't be both contingent and necessary is completely invalid, because he is not contingent, and necessary at the same time. He is
You'd say
necessary.
not in the same time and in the same sense. And guess what? That's
Yes.
and God Logic actually brings that up.
So
But
this
it's,
is
that's
like-
just so everyone knows, that's the requirement for a contradiction. A statement cannot be both true and false at the same time in the same sense. And that's a problem. People don't understand the basic terminology they're using. And it's just absolutely pathetic. And they don't even realize that when they're saying this stuff, they're actually contradicting the Muslim sources.
So
But yeah.
you had the church sit down and already talk about this and firmly establish this so long ago, because they thought about the stuff that Ali Dawah is coming up with in 2025 in the first centuries of Christianity, and they dealt with it and they firmly established it so that nobody makes a mistake here and falls into heresy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yet we have Ali Dawah over 1,500 years later bringing this up as if it was something new.
Yeah, and you're right. He hears a contingency argument from his friends and stuff, right? And so he wants to. Muslims always want to raise the objection, how can God die and so on. But if you start making the argument in terms of contingent and necessary existence and so on, you just sound smarter. And they've heard something about contingency argument before and so on. So, hey, my thing shut down again?
Your camera is off.
That is weird. I have no idea what causes it. It just randomly clicks off. Anyway, and then it restarts and I have to mess with it. So what you have with the Dawa guys is there's never an attempt to actually understand what you're talking about for the popular Dawa guys, because you don't have to. All you have to do is sound like you know what you're talking about, and that's enough. And that's enough to make you the Dawa hero of the world. And so this is what you see from Ali Dawah. Guys, this is a stupid argument. I was thinking, is he going to try to go after the Trinity and say that Jesus is dependent on the Father or something like, that the Son is dependent on the Father, like even in their eternal nature or something. He doesn't. Jesus would have a contingent body and a divine nature, and therefore he would be simultaneously necessary and contingent. That would be a contradiction. No. Same time, same sense is a requirement. Anyway, this is just wild stuff, but here we go.
We say that there has to be a necessary being that is not composed.
How would you define dependence?
Okay, so dependency is something that relies on something else for its existence. It can be composed of pieces, and it can be any other way. Good. So we say that you cannot have an infinite regress of dependent things, which means we need a independent, necessary being that cannot be any other way and cannot be composed of pieces.
Got it.
Perfect.
Not
Now-
be composed of pieces.
Yes.
Did you say composed of pieces? You could tell where he's going with that, right?
Yeah.
He just destroyed Islam.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Allah has body parts. Allah's made up of body parts, guys. And you can see God logic right there. Huh? What? You said what? Huh? Awesome stuff.
Oh, man.
All right.
Good. Now, was Jesus
You just gotta love God logic's like, okay, I'm waiting, but this is hilariously bad, and he's always amused. Awesome.
dependent or independent?
He's independent.
He's independent.
Yes.
Okay. So my definition of dependency was something that relies on something else for its existence.
Yeah, you said something that relies on another
Something else
being,
exists.
right?
It can be any other way, and it's not composed of pieces.
Yeah. So, all right. So,
Jesus is all three of those.
oh, no. So when you said dependence, right?
Yes.
Dependence is relying on something outside of your being, right?
No, it depends on it's your dependence requires on something else. For
When you say
existence.
something else,
For example, I need water. I need to sleep. The planet needs the sun to be a perfect distance so we don't freeze to death. The sun
you say
has its
I-
orbit.
let's try.
What?
Did you say I need muta?
Yeah, he needs muta and water. You know what's funny, by the way? God logic here, he already blocked Ali Dawah's argument in case Ali Dawah was trying to attack the Trinity in terms of, does the nature of the Son or the nature of the Spirit depend on the Father and so on? God logic defined dependence as depending on another being, on another being. And so if Ali Dawah had gone after the Trinity there, the nature of the Son is not depending on another being. They all share the same being. So he already preemptively blocks it, thinking, like I did, that that's where Ali Dawah was going to go. And Ali Dawah doesn't even give that, which even as, as bad as that would be as a contingency argument, would have been massively better than what he actually argues here, which is just him not understanding basic terms and then trying to use them in an argument, because the people he would normally use them with don't understand them either. But anyway, here we go. Go ahead.
Sorry. With his criteria, will it be right to say, therefore, Allah cannot be God because Allah needed human creatures to be Allah?
Yeah, he would be dependent in that sense. Because keep in mind, if you're saying dependent, you could mean that in a bunch of different ways, right? So he points out, you're dependent on food and so on. That's not even like the main way you'd be talking about dependence. Like, I need the way this is. You would normally say that God is upholding you and sustaining you every moment of your existence. It's not he made you and then you're fine on your own. God has to be upholding and sustaining all of us at all times. So that's the main sense in which we are dependent on God. Everything would just not exist if God weren't upholding everything in existence right now. He's just thinking in terms of, I need food, I need this. But if that's what you mean by dependence, then as Hatun pointed out, Allah is dependent. Allah says in the Hadith, he wants human beings to sin, because if they didn't, then he wouldn't be able to forgive. And he's forgiving by nature, but he can't forgive unless human beings sin, and therefore he needs human beings to sin. So Allah is dependent on human creatures to have his attributes, which it's
not only forgiveness. Like, Allah even needs animals or heavenly beings, however you translate that hadith, to carry him around. Like, very, very practical lifestyle of Allah. He needs someone to help him to come down and go up. All those very, very practical things of Allah.
Crazy stuff here.
Let's try to make sure. Okay, so the sun relies on something outside of its own being for its existence,
Not
right?
being. It requires something else to survive.
That's outside of it.
What are you laughing at, Hatun?
No, they're gonna have a conversation what is being means. And you can see actually Ali Dawah doesn't know what he's talking about.
That's right. He doesn't know what being means. I forgot. That is true. He doesn't know what being means. Something that exists. Anyway. There we go.
Being.
Yes.
That's outside of its being.
No, when you say being, what do you mean by that?
A being is its ontology, what it is, its existence. So something else that exists gives itself existence. So another being.
Which is the fastest growing.
Brother, one second. That's please. Let's suppose this Christianity.
So just to solidify, so dependency is something that relies on another being for its existence, or
on another thing for its existence.
Can we?
God Logic just said dependency is something that relies on another being for its existence. He goes, another thing. It's like, okay, a thing is a being. Ali Dawah, so he doesn't know what the word being means. He's giving a contingency argument and doesn't know what a being is, and he thinks that not existing necessarily because something is contradictory and can't possibly exist is one of the three kinds of existence. Something that can't exist because it would be contradictory is a kind of existence.
I think that's very normal thing it's going to come out as an insult, but maybe there is a part in that. So there is something. It is very common in Muslim mind. They use the words, they say things, they don't even know what it means. Like, they recite the Quran in Arabic. They don't even know what it means, but they just recite. So someone gave Ali Dawah a piece of paper, and then they wrote think there. So in Ali Dawah's mind is think. So I can't use another word for it. He doesn't even put together, being is think here. So therefore, that's the that picture we are seeing. Ali Dawah is I memorize things, but he's using different words. How I'm gonna reconcile this? Stupid.
And yeah, I don't even know what to do at this point. You literally you can't even use the basic words of the argument because Ali Dawah doesn't understand them. Okay, here we go.
Can we solidify on being? So would you say that the thing is another
I don't
being?
require a water is not a being. I require water. I need water.
Water is a being. Being is just is a state of existence. It has ontology.
If that's your definition of being, then yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yeah, that's what the word means, Ali Dawah. Okay. If that's your definition.
So dependency, you rely on
My definition of being is something that's not what are you?
other being for your existence.
Yes.
All right, let's go on.
That's my argument. So you said that Jesus is independent.
Yeah, he's independent.
Okay, that is not independency.
Okay.
Because Jesus is number one. Jesus could be any other way.
He could be any other way.
What did Jesus look like?
I don't know.
Is there anything other?
We're talking about his human nature.
Yes.
Well, we're talking about his divine nature.
No, I'm talking about.
Ever get that? That was the huge misunderstanding here on Ali Dawah's part. So when Ali Dawah's asking God Logic, is Jesus dependent or independent? God Logic says independent because he's God. He eternal. Everything that's created, everything that comes into being is created through Jesus. And therefore, he's in a different category of things that have not come into being. They were always they always existed. Whereas Ali Dawah was talking about Jesus who's walking around, the Sea of Galilee and so on. The actual physical well, he was born, so he's not in that category of things that always existed and so on. So anyway, they got to clarify that, and we'll see where they go here. But AP, get ready because you're going to learn some theology that'll help you as a cat human.
Human nature. What did he look like?
I don't know.
Did he have 2 arms?
Yes, he did.
Could he have been born with no arm?
Possibly.
Okay, so he can be any other way, so he's dependent.
Oh yeah, but you're talking about his human nature versus his divine nature.
No, I'm not talking about human nature.
Okay, so
I'm saying Jesus.
I would agree that the human nature is dependent. I would agree.
Okay, no,
but
if it's dependent, then you cannot have an infinite regress of dependent things. It has to depend on something that's independent.
Yeah.
So, what is the?
Oh, guys, on the point about infinite regress, I think we've discussed everything else, but on the point of an infinite regress is if you take this thing and you say this is dependent, it depends on this other thing. You say, okay, what is that thing dependent or independent? Oh, well, it also depends on this thing. The point is you can't just go back forever with a series of dependent things because it's like there's nothing to get it started. So the argument from contingency is, you've got different kinds of arguments and so on. The basic idea, if you're using an infinite regress, is you eventually need something that exists necessarily to either get things started on one view or that is responsible kind of for the entire series. Anyway. Were you saying something, AP? You got a grin on your face.
Well, so Avery GodLogic asked him, he said, you're talking about the human nature of Jesus. Mm-hmm. He said, no, I'm talking about Jesus. I'm just talking about Jesus. But then he's clearly talking about the human because he doesn't get it. He doesn't understand the distinction.
That is true.
And I would I don't know if you can sincerely say this about Ali Dawah, but I would like to urge him or even invite him to sit down and have an actual conversation and just humbly sit down, be quiet, and just listen to somebody who can teach him a little bit about Christian theology and Christology, and then talk about these things once again, because he's just talking from the perspective of an ignorant Muslim.
And it's a problem that his fellow Muslims wouldn't know enough to correct him, but he would not accept correction from anyone else. And I know this. Why? Because after his debate with you, I don't know if you remember this, he debated you and he tried to use a contingency argument, and it was crap. And then Cameron Bertuzzi actually posted a video saying, Ali Dawah, if you want to use a contingency argument, try to get it right. Here's a better version if you wanted to argue this. And he gives him a contingency argument. And Ali Dawah's response was, well, I'm not going to listen to someone who believes in the Trinity and the deity of Christ try to lecture me about what... And it's like, dude, he was actually trying to help you. Why? Because that was an argument for the existence of God. And he's saying, if you're going to argue for the existence of God, I hope you have a good argument, because you're defending theism. I want you to have a good argument. He tries to help him, gives him a better argument. And Ali Dawah, no, you can't correct me because you believe in the Trinity. Anyway, he's too arrogant to accept correction. And the result is he makes stupid arguments. Let's see.
Dependent thing.
Jesus' divine nature. Because Jesus.
one second.
Let me finish. Let me answer in full. Okay. Because Jesus has a divine nature, he has a nature that is independent. Okay.
You can't be dependent and independent at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I agree that you can't be dependent and independent at the same time in the same sense.
Did you catch it? This is what's funny.
He doesn't get it.
Yeah, guys, I have a background in philosophy. God Logic, who just runs into this argument because that's what Ali Dawah brings it up, and God Logic's just like asking questions and stuff, but he's correctly pointing out all the flaws in what Ali Dawah is saying here. So right off the bat, when Ali Dawah says, there's 3 types of existence here, one of them is impossible existence. Oh yeah, what's an example of that? Like a square triangle. Okay, so it doesn't exist? No, okay, so it's not a type of existence. There's 2 types of existence, right? So you corrected him there. And then here Ali Dawah saying something can't be necessary and contingent at the same time, or something can't be independent and dependent at the same time. And anyone who's taken a logic class at any point or philosophy class would instantly think, no, you can't be dependent and independent in the same sense, at the same time, in the same sense. But Ali Dawah, no, I just can't. And by saying, no, you just can't be dependent and independent together at all in any sense, he just buried his own religion, because that's how desperate he is to attack Christianity. He doesn't mind burying his own prophet and his own God and his own book, as we will see shortly. Let me just go back slightly here. All right.
I would like to express, earlier I said they don't know what they're talking about. I would like to emphasize now I am double convinced. Someone just give him piece of paper. Okay, you memorize this as you memorize Surah 112, and then this is all you need to recite.
Mm-hmm.
Because someone who just kind of summarized, okay, here's the 3 types of existence, these are the kind of arguments, and then suddenly says, oh yeah, you can't be dependent and independent at the same time. It's just like, he didn't know anything, and at this stage still he doesn't know anything.
That is correct. Yeah, and what you're saying, it actually, you compared it to memorizing a short surah of the Quran or something like that, but it's very similar in the sense that you'll have Muslims who memorize passages of the Quran, and we ask them about, and they have no clue what we're talking about. They don't know anything about, they don't even understand what they're reciting. But that's like him right now. He's learned to recite it without understanding anything that he's saying. This is like, there are even Muslims who memorize chapters of the Quran in Arabic and don't speak Arabic, so they don't know what they're reciting. They just, they memorize it in a language they don't understand. That's kind of like what Ali Dawah is doing right here. He learned these words and he doesn't know what they mean.
Because Jesus has a divine nature, he has a nature that is independent. Okay?
You can't be dependent and independent at the same time.
Yeah, well, I agree that you can't be dependent and independent at the same time in the same sense.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. Jesus is independent in regards to his divine nature, dependent in regards to his human nature.
But what my argument is the following. I told you there are 3 types of existence. Impossible
We eliminated
existence,
one of them.
Triangle, square.
I love how he keeps burning them up. We already eliminated. I said that there's 3 types. Dude, isn't this amazing? Like, quit calling it 3 types of existence. One of them is non-existence, right? It's the opposite of existence. Oh boy.
If I'll give you a little recap there, let's say this, because the triangle and square are distinct.
Right.
The triangle has 3 sides, the square has 4 sides.
Yep.
So the triangle, let's name the triangle Jesus. And let's name the square the Father.
No. Let's do that.
Let's not. Let's not do that. Hold up. So he was attacking the idea of the incarnation by saying something can't be dependent and independent at the same time. And then he goes on to say, okay, something can't be a square circle. And then he says, let's call the square the Father and the triangle the Son. This dude's all over the place with nonsense.
No, what's it?
No, let's name the triangle flesh and name the square divine.
No, because you know why? Because there are two separate opposite beings.
No,
let me tell you. Let me finish. Because you know where this is going. Now, yes, I'll be laughing if I was you too. You know when the nerves come up, you gotta release it one hand, brother. It's either by farting or laughing.
That's right.
Yes. Okay. So now, guys, the triangle and square are two opposites. So I said an impossible existence. What?
Did he say a triangle and a square are opposites?
To have a triangle square, they're impossible. It's just the same way of saying us, dependent, independent.
Okay.
Two opposites, black, white.
Nice.
So now, and then I said, there are dependent things. Like myself, I depend on water, sleep, shelter, food, and many other things to survive. I asked the question, is Jesus dependent or independent? He said, he's independent. I said to him, no, because Jesus, when he was born, could have been born with one arm missing. He said, yes. That shows he's composed of pieces. He could be any other way, and he's dependent. Okay. And I said, it depends on why he goes. It depends on his independence.
No, can I?
What he actually said, Ali Dawah, is what anyone with a functioning reasoning ability would say. Divine nature, human nature. You can say you don't believe it, but it's not a contradiction, sport. You just don't know because you don't even understand what a contradiction is.
All right, thank you. So you're conflating categories. So when you ask me, is Jesus dependent or independent? I said independent. That's in regards to his divine nature. He's the dependency. The human nature is dependent. Okay, it's composite, of course. Now you said that this is like doing sorry.
Is this belong to you?
Yeah, this is me. Okay. You said that this is like doing a squared circle. Now let me ask you this, because I agree with you that a square and a circle cannot be or triangle square. Sorry, triangle square cannot be the same thing, right? Now let me ask you this:
Are you laughing at him saying no triangle square?
Yes.
You get that? Because everyone else for contradiction usually goes with square circle. Ali Dawah square triangle, and then
No triangle.
Yeah. So apparently, when he memorizes a little piece of paper that someone hands him, you can't change anything, right? So he's saying, so it would be like a square circle. No, square triangle. Completely irrelevant, dude. Huh?
You wouldn't want to have debate with him regarding like, okay, what is circle? He memorized with triangle, stick with it.
It's got to be square circle, isn't it? I mean, square triangle. What is this?
Can a triangle and a square be put next to each other?
Yeah.
Okay, is that a contradiction?
No.
Okay, so I'm not saying that the divine nature and the human nature are intertwined and mixed and are the same exact thing. I'm saying that they're next to each other. They're united in the person of Jesus.
Next to,
okay?
No. When you make them next to each other, united, unite them as one force of the triangle.
They're not
square.
mixed.
That's why I said it's an impossible existence, because you can't have triangle square. They are distinct.
That's what I'm saying. That's not a triangle square. They're next to each other. I have a triangle and I have a square.
No, but what you've done is
it
looks like a house. It's like.
What's up?
I think GodLogic is getting there, and he's doing a good thing. But this is precisely the point here, Ali Dawah. We're not saying that it is a triangle and a square at the same time. That would be, for example, in terms of Christology, that there would be the two completely mixing, the two natures completely mixing and becoming one. Which is in Christianity not accepted as proper Christology. It is considered heretical, which is why the two natures are united and come together without confusion, without mixing, and without being separated. So the analogy that Ali Dawah is making here is not similar to the nature of Christ. He doesn't understand it.
Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't understand when people say 100% God and 100% man, people go, what? 100% God and 100% man? Isn't that like 200%? That's about the issue of mixing. So people, So on the issue of mixing, so think about if I have a glass of milk and a glass of orange juice and I mix them. If I mix milk and orange juice, I get something that's not really milk and not really orange juice anymore. It's a mixture. It's a mixture of the two. It's something else. I wouldn't take a sip and go, oh, this is great milk, or oh, this is great orange juice. It would be something else. It's something that's mixed together. So when you're talking about it from a theological perspective, it's like, okay, if you take a full glass of milk and a full glass of orange juice and they are somehow connected, but they are not mixed together. That's sort of the issue. And that's what God logic is trying to explain. If you take a triangle and a square and you bring them together, you've still got your triangle, you still got your square, and there's no contradiction there. And Ali Dawah is saying, no, you can't do that.
Square and the triangle, it's like a little house, isn't it? Yeah, but it doesn't work here because
I love this. You put a triangle and a square together, it look like a little house, isn't it? Let me back this up because this is awesome. This is learning your shapes with Ali Dawah. Everyone, if you take a square and you put a triangle on top, it looks like a house. Watch Ali Dawah point that out to everyone just so they know.
Twine and mixing aren't the same exact thing. I'm saying that they're next to each other. They're united in the person of Jesus.
Next to,
okay?
No. When you mix them next to each other, unite them as one force of the triangle.
They're not
square.
mixed.
That's why I said it's an impossible existence, because you can't have triangle square. They are distinct.
That's what I'm saying. That's not a triangle square. They're next to each other. I have a triangle and I have a square.
No, but what you've done is
it
looks like a house. It's like a square and a triangle. It's like a little house, isn't it? Yeah. But it's like this.
A house can't exist because that would be a square and a triangle together, isn't it? So you can't have something that looks like a house.
Because the house just fell apart. You know why? Because I'm saying, can you have a triangle square? He's saying no. When you put the triangle and square together, if you look at it, guys, it looks like a little house, yeah? But your argument of houses fell apart. I'm saying
This is Dawah, everyone. Learning shapes with Ali Dawah. Reminds me, seriously, look, everyone does this. Look, let me explain everything to you in shapes. And then we watch videos by Saj, and he's like, let's talk about what the word means. And here's what a hadith is. And here's what a book is. And it's like, do all these guys have audiences of like 4-year-olds? Or just people with the mental ability of 4-year-olds? I don't know.
because you're saying, can you have a square and triangle put together? I said yes, and it doesn't contradict.
Okay.
I said, can you have a triangle square?
Right, and I say no, right? So look, notice, let's get on the same page, okay? You and I both agree that you cannot have a triangle and a square in the same way, in the same sense, okay? We agree.
Ooh, what does that remind you? Once I say that again,
hold on a second.
No, say that again.
I'll say it again, sure, for the audience.
Yes.
You cannot have a triangle and a square in the same way, in the same sense.
Wow.
So understand.
If only you just said Jesus and the Father.
Wait, hold on.
Night.
Ali Dawah, follow what I'm saying. Follow what I'm saying, okay?
Following.
So what I'm saying
following, but you're going astray. You're going astray.
What I'm saying is that we have a triangle and we have a square next to each other, united. Not that they're mixed, not that they're combined, they're united in the person, okay? So I'm not saying that Jesus is independent and dependent in the same exact way, in the same sense. That would be a contradiction. I'm saying that he has a nature that is independent and a nature that is dependent. Two different natures united in the person. That's called the hypostatic union. This is Christian theology.
That's
Hypostatic union. And guys, I want to give you all, I've made videos about this before, use this in various ways, but very, very simple way. I mean, simple in the sense of how easy it is to explain and how easy it is to understand. Does not mean that the Muslim you're talking to is going to understand it, but here's a good crack at it, right? Here's a good crack addict. That's what people. There's Ali Dawah and his crack. He calls people crackhead clown individuals, and then people call him that, and then he cries Islamophobe. But okay, here's the Quran. Right. If your Muslim friend is using Ali Dawah's argument from Contingency, just pull out a Quran, and then ask, is Allah's speech eternal or does it have a beginning? Is it eternal or does it have a beginning? Ask him that, and you'll occasionally get a Muslim who says, I don't know, it has a beginning. Say, go back to your imam and ask your imam or your sheikh that question, because you're considered a heretic in Orthodox Islam for saying that the Quran had a beginning. Anyway, ask him if the speech of Allah is eternal or does it have a beginning. If he knows at all what he's talking about, he's going to have to say that the speech of Allah is eternal. It doesn't have a beginning. And then you say, that's interesting. Let me open up the Quran here and I find, 1993? Wait a minute. You told me this thing is eternal. This was published in 1993. How can you say that this is eternal? Makes no sense. And you have to kind of go back and forth on this before he gets the point. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, this Quran has two natures. This Quran is supposedly a hypostatic union of Allah's eternal speech and the Mus'haf, this actual physical copy, right? So the idea is, again, you have to work your way through this, but the idea is that the Quran is Allah. I mean, the Quran is Allah's eternal speech. Allah speaks this from all eternity. The Quran has no beginning. It's uncreated. It cannot be corrupted. It can't be destroyed. It's the eternal speech of Allah. You say, aha, okay, so Allah's eternal speech has no beginning, has no end, can't be corrupted, can't be destroyed, is not created. Aha, that's what Allah's eternal speech is. But Allah's speech to be in our world, if you want it in our world, it has to be written upon people's hearts or written in a book. If it's in a book form, or if it's written on people's human hearts or is being spoken by human beings, then it's what? Then it's, you've got a dual nature already. You've got a dual nature. So speaking of the Quran, you've got the eternal speech of Allah, but if the eternal speech of Allah is going to be in our world, it is a book made of paper and glue and ink. And since it's in a book made of paper and glue and ink, it therefore has a beginning. It can be destroyed. We've done it multiple times. Can be corrupted, will eventually fall apart. And so if that's impossible, according to Ali Dawah, because those are opposites, eternal and temporal, right? It's infinite in existence and finite. Has no beginning, has a beginning. These are opposite properties. Ali Dawah doesn't think you can have that. In other words, the Quran is a contradiction. The Quran is a contradiction, according to Ali Dawah. Rather, Islamic theology about the Quran is a contradiction. And therefore, the Quran, as Muslims believe in it, cannot exist. This is something as far as it is in Islamic theology. So every Muslim is going to grant that this is a physical copy of the Quran. We know that this exists. But according to Ali Dawah, something can't have two natures, and therefore the eternal nature of the Quran doesn't exist. Islamic theology of the Quran falls apart completely. Got that, everyone? Oh, Silent says GodLogic should have brought this up. Well, that's the thing. It's he's responding to Ali Dawah's argument as he's giving it, but that task always falls to other people. He's just responding to things as Ali Dawah's bringing them up and so on. But that's what's fun. We always get to unpack things later.
Yep.
Also, just practical reasoning, like this is happening around just before midnight. And very soon, like people are just going home. So there is no time to, like, there is not even time for him to question Tawhid yet. Because once this discussion finished, Ali Dawah is like, okay, time for bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's some hypostatic nonsense.
Oh, you don't know how to do it.
One second.
So wait. Okay. So now it's my turn. Okay. So when you talk about composite, right?
What's up?
What was that? Did he just mock hypostatic? Like, is that
Yeah.
like the first time he heard it or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, what this hypostatic nonsense, even though it's exactly what we believe about the Quran, yeah, innit?
They are very respectful people group. Very respectful people group.
He probably has never
When you
heard of
talk about-
hypostatic.
Yeah.
He never heard of it.
Well, he didn't know what the word being means, so. And he thinks that impossible existence is a kind of existence, one of the three kinds of existence, so.
Composite.
Guys, again, this is not some random guy. This is one of the heroes and legends of Dawah, and his go-to argument for GodLogic after, but what about my prayer rugs, isn't it? This is his argument that he wanted to get to, and it's just beyond ridiculous, and he doesn't even know the terms. I don't even know what to do.
Agree that the human nature It's composite, right? It has soul, mind, arms, legs, and stuff like that. The divine nature, it's not. It's not made up in parts. You are different, though. You believe in Allah. You don't believe that Allah is made up of parts? But you believe he has a hand. You believe he has a shin, right? You believe he has eyes. And how you say that these things are not like how you understand or how, you don't ask the how. I understand. But here's my question. Is Allah identical to his hands, for example?
Is Allah identical to his hands? Is Allah identical to his hands?
No would mean that he literally has parts. So
you got to either say yes, Allah is identical to his hands, which means the hands are Allah and Allah is the hands. Or you can say no, Allah is not identical to his hands. His hands are a part of him, in which case he's made of parts. And Ali Dawah said, something that exists necessarily or is independent cannot be made of parts. Oopsie.
What does he say?
Okay.
Let's see.
Are you finished?
Yes.
Okay, so I asked him the question. You guys heard it for yourself. In the beginning when he said that they are not...
Is this what you're talking about, Hatun, when you're talking about he not answering questions?
Yeah.
This is what he does. Pathetic.
So back in the beginning, let me go back to shapes. Look, this is a triangle.
Imagine
Cannot be-
Good.
Sorry, I was just thinking he's talking about this is square, this is triangle. Imagine as he was giving this gift to GodLogic today at Speaker's Corner. I was just like thinking, did he even bother to kind of sit down with his 3-year-old kid and then teach those shapes to his child? Probably not, because the way he's speaking, you can just like, Lord, I have got to do repentance tonight. Just look at his face. Like his face is like screaming. His brain is coming out. Like this is too much for. He like you can see he's screaming out. Like I don't know what I'm talking about. We just need to move on. We just need to. That's like how it is.
Yeah, and I mean, you brought out like, can you imagine him trying to break down the shape issue to his kid? He'd be like, "Look, see, this a square, isn't it?" And the kid would be like, "Ooh, square," and he'd go, "And this be a triangle, yeah?" And the kid would go, "Ooh, triangle. Hey, can I put triangle on top of square?" "No, you can't do that because then it would not exist, yeah."
No, it won't work like that. He's gonna say, you are 3 right now. You need to wait until age 6 or 7 when you start doing construction work. Right now, we are just working on the colors and shapes. Putting top of it will make it house. That's construction work.
Can't do that.
Too early for that.
Too early.
Same. If only he just changed the word triangle to Jesus and the square to the Father. Look, all you have to do is, guys, when he says triangle, Jesus, square, Father, it's over. The game is over. You know why? Because I'm telling you, he's joining them together as one, like they're distinct. He's saying that you can have a square and you join them together, unification. I'm saying
You can put a square and a triangle together. That's a fact, Ali Dawah. It's extremely easy to do. So the point is, Ali Dawah, it's not a contradiction. And you don't know what you're talking about. And you need to stop using arguments that you don't understand. And you won't. You'll keep using them. Why? Because your fans are too stupid. And right now they'll be cheering for you. Oh, GodLogic's been humiliated by Ali Dawah's powerful logic.
that. Can you have a dependent, independent being? Yes or no?
I just told you. I already answered that.
Yes or no? Dependent, independent
Notice
being.
how you didn't answer.
Little side note. When GodLogic asked Ali Dawah a question, Ali Dawah refused to answer. When Ali Dawah asks GodLogic a question, GodLogic answers, and then 5 minutes later, Ali Dawah asks the same question, and apparently GodLogic has to keep answering the same question over and over and over again, and Ali Dawah never has to answer any question that's posed to him. This is Dawah.
My question, Ali.
I am. Can you have a dependent, independent being?
What was my question?
I'm saying to you very clearly that a dependent,
what was
independent
my
being.
question, bro?
Listen. You said that the square and the triangle are unification. So you're saying that the dependent and independent came together.
They're united in the person.
Exactly.
But
and I'm saying that
what
goes
was my
against my
question?
argument of Contingency.
Okay.
Because dependency is something that relies on something else for its existence.
so that's what I'm
Number
asking.
one.
That's what I'm
Number
asking. That's
two,
why I
it is
asked you.
composed of pieces. Number three,
Why won't you
it
answer
can
my
be any
question?
other way. Now, Jesus demonstrates that. How? He's composed of
No,
pieces.
you gotta deal with my question,
He
bro.
can be any other way, and he is dependent. All he's
So all Ali Dawah does is just keeps repeating the same thing over and over again that's already been refuted, and then refusing to answer questions. This is Dawah, guys. This is his argument. This is his bread and butter, apparently. He has no clue what he's talking about. He can't respond to objections. This is bad.
is the following. He goes, they're unified, meaning the following. Jesus is
What did I
dependent.
say is dependent?
Jesus is dependent.
What did I say is dependent?
And independent at the same time.
What did I say is
That's
dependent?
contradiction, bro.
Okay, so I'll...
Triangle square,
Okay,
impossible
well,
existence.
it looks like we gotta
You've got
do
impossible
this again.
existence.
Okay,
So
what-
let me make my argument. Let me finish it. This is the reason why Tawheed in Islam makes sense. That's the reason why we have hundreds of Christians coming to Islam in this table. You know why? Because every time we ask a Christian, why did you leave Christianity? The first thing they say is not morality.
Tawheed.
You know what they say? Because no, not even Tawheed. They don't even say Tawheed. They say we left because there's no Tawheed in Christianity. They say because of the Trinity.
Bull. That's a Dawah lie. That's a Dawah lie. I've heard from tons of people occasionally say, yeah, Christianity was so confusing. The Trinity was so confusing and stuff. Vast majority of cases, it's not the Trinity.
Look, here's the thing. On the surface, especially arguing from a Muslim position, Tawheed would sound more simple and would sound more, like a
Surface
simpler
level.
explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, surface would sound more simple. Beyond the surface, however, once you start actually understanding it and trying to confront certain problems with it, Tawheed becomes extremely complicated and very difficult, and the Trinity actually under the surface is much simpler, and is also very straightforward and explicable, and doesn't encounter any of these any of the problems that you will have that you start having when you question Tawheed, because Tawheed claims to be this completely pure, undivided oneness of Allah, while also being completely contradictory in and of itself, because Islamic sources are full of contradicting that narrative over and over again, with Allah depending on things, with Allah moving here and there, with Allah entering and coming down and listening and going upstairs, and then depending on people's prayers, and having body parts, having two eyes and a leg, and so on. The Trinity doesn't have these issues. The Trinity solves these problems very early on. You have this issue that Ali Dawah comes up with. He can't even begin to comprehend the issue of Jesus having a divine nature and the human nature. Although this is a question that you can learn in the basic Christology, which has been dealt with a long time ago, because Christianity didn't come from a culture of ignorance where some caravan robber from a polytheistic Arab culture was just hearing stuff and then making up his own religion as he goes, because it comes from a truth of source, and from a truth of actual healthy reason, not reason used by some desert dweller who just comes up with random things. And what Ali Dawah is missing here, what he doesn't understand, is he really doesn't even know, and I don't think that he is good faith enough to actually sit down and listen to and then have a proper understanding of Christology. But he doesn't even understand the narrative in Christianity, where Jesus is divine in nature, and for the sake of humanity, as the Savior, descends and takes on human nature, and then does not get rid of his divine nature and doesn't mix into it. He takes on with his divine nature the human nature, and then has both of them. And we have something to we then have him as one of us and also divine at the same time. He doesn't lose any of these aspects. So now here's the thing. It would be one issue if you understood this and then started criticizing it and questioning it. But he doesn't even understand it. He doesn't even know what we are talking about. He doesn't even know the narrative. And he doesn't even want to know it.
You're right. He doesn't care. I mean, think if he actually cared, he would be interested in studying these things and getting things right. And so, Ali Dawah, here's a Quran, ladies and gentlemen. According to Ali Dawah, this can't be the eternal speech of Allah because it's a finite, limited, temporal book that had a beginning and will eventually fall apart. This cannot be the eternal speech of Allah. It can't be, according to Ali Dawah, because that would be a contradiction. That would be a contradiction. So that's on the issue of the Quran. Let me give another fun thing here. Ready? Here, speaking of the Quran, here's a passage from the Quran. This is Surah 27. I mentioned it earlier. This is Surah 27, verses 7 to 9. Learn this passage. I mean, at least learn the reference and get the gist of it. You do have to check which translation you get because there are translations that try to avoid what this is saying, right? This is the study Quran. I'm using the study Quran here, and they give a good translation. So this is the story of Moses and the burning bush. Look at this. Remember when Moses said unto his family, verily, I perceive a fire. I shall bring you some news therefrom, or a brand, that haply you may warm yourselves. So he's going to go check out this fire and, hey, we can get warm. Then when he came to the fire, a call came unto him. Blessed is the one in the fire and the one around it. And glory be to God, Lord of the worlds. O Moses, verily it is I, God, the mighty, the wise. Okay, so a voice, Moses sees the flame, goes over and says, hey, let me check this out. Goes over to the fire, and then a voice speaks and says, blessed is the one in the fire and the one around it. So who's the one around the fire, everyone? I'm asking you guys in the chat, who is the one around the fire?
Angel?
Yeah, that is that is one. You'll have that. And I've actually seen that the word there can actually refer to angels being around the fire and stuff, and they'll even say that about the one in the fire and so on. You got two people in context. You got two beings in context here. No, not beings. I don't know what that means, isn't it? But so anyway, you've got Moses at the fire, and then the voice says, blessed is the one in the fire and the one around it. So you will have commentaries and stuff that try to explain this in other terms. Most obvious meaning, one around it would be Moses. And so, guys, who is the one in the fire who speaks out of the fire? Who is in the fire? The one in the fire is not Moses. The one in the fire is not Moses. Who is the one around the fire? Yep, they'll want to say something like an angel or angels or something like that. And then all you have to do is say, what's the angel's name? What's the angel's name who's speaking? Because what does the angel say? The angel says, again, blessed is the one in the fire and the one around it, and glory be to God, Lord of the worlds. O Moses, verily it is I, God, the mighty, the wise. And so that's actually Allah. It is I, Allah, the mighty, the wise. So guys, this is Allah, and Allah is in the fire. AP and Hatun. According to Islam, is Allah necessary or contingent?
Both.
That's impossible.
So Allah, according to Ali Dawah, would be necessary, and yet he's in a fire. Fire necessary or contingent?
Contingent.
And necessary too, because Allah's in it.
Oh no!
Everyone understand the problem here?
Oh no!
You've got Allah.
It's impossible. You're stupid.
You've got Allah in the fire. So you've got Allah. He's somehow in the fire. The fire is contingent. Allah is necessary. And so you've got what? You've got a necessary and contingent thing. You got a necessary thing and a contingent thing united together as a thing. He's speaking out of the fire. So he's in the fire. So it's necessary because it's Allah speaking out of the fire, and contingent because it's a fire. It didn't have to be that way. So what you have here is, according to Ali Dawah, this passage of the Quran is complete idiotic nonsense. It's impossible. It couldn't have happened. Allah couldn't have been in the fire. Allah's lying when he says he's in the fire, and the Quran is lying when it says that Allah was in the fire and says, blessed is he who's in the fire, and so on. Y'all get this? Ali Dawah says this is a contradiction. This can't possibly have happened because it's a contradiction. Because think, if you want to say, what could you possibly say as a Muslim if you want to say that the incarnation, God entering creation as Jesus of Nazareth by taking on a human nature, if you wanted to say that's impossible, how does God enter a fire then? God can enter a fire, but he can't enter a human being? He can't do it? Anyway, little side note along those lines, everyone, as far as God, because what the Muslims, what they'd have to say is, yeah, he can enter a fire, he just can't take on human nature, and you have to say why. It's just interesting that human nature, human beings, guess what? Human beings are created in the image of God. We're the kinds of things that can actually reflect God's nature. And that's how God becomes incarnate. He already said we are created in his image. We are capable of reflecting God's nature. And what does God become incarnate as? Something that was already made to reflect his nature. And Muslims, no, can't take on human nature, can't do it. It's impossible. It would be impossible even for Allah himself. Can God enter a fire? Oh yeah, that's easy. It actually reminds me of can Allah have a son? No, of course not, because how can he have a son when he has no wife? Okay, can Mary have a son without having a husband? Yes, it's easy for Allah. It's like you're making this stuff up as you go along. Oh boy. Hey, I want to put one passage on the screen. I have to actually check something real quick. Not sure if someone is here, but I'm gonna put a hadith up on the screen. AP and Hatun, could you break this down for me while I go check something? Break this down for everyone. Here you go. Fun hadith. Explain how this is relevant to what we're talking about.
Oh, this is a very, very beautiful. So according to this beautiful hadith, Allah waits till when 1/3 of the first part of the night is over. He descends to the lowest heaven and says, is there any supplicator of forgiveness? Is there any penitent? Is there any petitioner? Is there any solicitor? Till it is daybreak.
So then, can I ask a question since David is not there?
Sure, yes, go ahead.
I would like to use my basic human rights to ask question. So
please,
when I read this Sahih Hadith, should I be interpreting this as Allah had some hearing problems, therefore steps into his creation, comes to the lowest heaven to hear who are the people who are asking forgiveness, because when he's up there far away, he doesn't know.
Yes. So he has to come down somehow. He also, of course, depends on the time of the day. He depends on when it is time for him to descend, to come down here. So he comes down here and he stays there for a while. There are also other narrations, other Sahih Hadith just like this, which further point out that he stays there for a while and then he actually goes back up. So he has to come down, has to wait, to listen, and then to go back.
So Allah is more dependent than me.
Yes.
For Allah to hear people's prayer and then hear who needs to ask forgiveness, he needs to do lots of things.
Yes.
So he's much dependent than me, and he's dependent on other beings.
Yes.
Okay, so according to Ali Dawah, Allah cannot be God, right?
Yes. Are you ready to do your Shahada now?
Sure. How does it start? Ashhadu an la ilaha.
I testify that Allah is dependent, and I testify that Allah has to come down sometimes to listen. Allah has to come down every night to listen to our prayers. That's how it goes. It's also funny because imagine the world. There's, of course, he comes down every night at a certain part of the night, But this happens every night. But when is really every night, right? It's always night somewhere on the earth. But apparently he always has to come down at night to stay there for a while. It doesn't really even make sense thinking about the shape of the earth. But the fact that he has to come down and listen is just completely ridiculous.
AP,
Yes.
when it comes to Islam, don't
Yes.
use your logic. It is not Allah's fault. He didn't know that earth is not flat. It's not his fault. It can't be his fault. He's like innocent guy here.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, are you guys talking trash over here?
Yes.
Not sure what you guys discussed while I was gone, or whether you made fun of me, but
We did.
did you guys mention contingency at all?
No.
That's actually what I was thinking in terms of contingency. So guys, think about this. Allah waits till when 1/3 of the first part of the night is over. He descends to the lowest heaven and says, okay, so if he descends, then was he there? When he goes to the lowest heaven, was he there necessarily? If he had to descend,
Yes.
if he had to go there? Was he
Yes.
there? No, he wasn't, AP. He's only there necessarily because in the sense of it's necessary for him. It's necessary for him to get close to hear because he has hearing problems. But think about this. If Allah moves from place to place, so if Allah's on his throne, is he there necessarily or contingently? Well, you'd have to say contingently, unless you believe that Allah is just always on his throne and his throne travels with him and so on. But is he in the lowest heaven necessarily or contingently? Well, if he travels there and then leaves, then he's there contingently. What does this mean? It means you have a necessary being, Allah, who is contingently in various places. So guess what? You can't be necessary and contingent. You can't be, not in any way. Because what we would say is, he's necessary as far as his existence, but he's contingently in a place. So it's not the same time, or it's not the same sense. You're not talking about the same sense of necessary and contingent. But for Ali Dawah, you can't be necessary and contingent in any sense. I mean, you have to be one or the other. You can't be both in any sense. And so, well, there goes Allah. Poor Allah.
This is exactly what we just said while we were gone, so I'm not sure why you're trying to
You didn't say any of this because you just said you didn't talk about contingency. So don't lie.
But just because I said we didn't talk about it, that doesn't mean we didn't talk about it. So
You didn't talk about it.
both can be
One of
true at
the-
the same time.
One of the things we missed, I think, mentioning is also this hadith shows us that how we get to know a little bit more of Dajjal, because earlier they were talking about, you can recognize Dajjal from because he doesn't have right eye, but other than it looks like Allah. So now we picked up also Dajjal has hearing problem as well. Why is that funny? It's not my fault if Allah has hearing problems.
It's not funny. I'm just laughing.
Hey, that would actually be funny if but how are we going to tell the difference between the Dajjal and Allah? Well, Allah has 2 eyes, but the Dajjal only has 1 eye. Are there any other differences? Well, the Dajjal has good hearing, but Allah's hearing is bad. Means something like that, right? I just want to bring up one more thing. Hang on. Since we're on the subject of hadiths, just check this one out, guys. Check this one out. This is Sahih al-Bukhari. Kind of zoom through this because it's a long hadith. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. We said, "Oh, Allah's Messenger, shall we see our Lord on the day of resurrection? You're going to be able to see Allah on the day of resurrection?" He said, "Do you have any difficulty in seeing the sun and the moon when the sky is clear?" We said, "No." He said, "So you will have no difficulty in seeing your Lord on that day, as you have no difficulty in seeing the sun and the moon in a clear sky." The Prophet then said, somebody will then announce, "Let every nation follow what they used to worship." That's what's going on here, what you used to worship. So the companions of the cross, that's Christians, the companions of the cross will go to their cross, and the idolaters will go with their idols, and the companions of every god, false deities, will go with their god, till there remain those who used to worship Allah, both the obedient ones and the mischievous ones, and some of the people of the scripture. Notice it says, when people go to what they worship, Christians will go to the cross. Isn't that interesting? Christians worship the cross. These are guys who walk circles around a pagan shrine and kiss a black stone, and they think Christians are worshiping the cross. Anyway, then hell will be presented to them as if it were a mirage. Then it will be said to the Jews. You ready for this, AP?
No.
Let's scroll up. So there. Then it will be said to the Jews, what did you used to worship? They will reply, we used to worship Ezra, the son of Allah. Hey, any Jews in the chat? Is that what you're going to say? Allah says, hey, what did you used to worship? Are you going to say, we used to worship Ezra, the son of Allah? It's weird. I've never heard a single Jew say that at any point ever. And yet it's something Jews just understand. They all worship Ezra, the son of Allah. I pointed out, if you bring this up to a Jew and you say, hey, you worship Ezra? They'll go, like my cousin Ezra? Like, somehow they have this big secret they're keeping, that they all worship Ezra, the son of Allah. It will be said to them, you are liars, for Allah has neither a wife nor a son. Yeah, they're the ones who are lying, not Allah here. What do you want now? They will reply, we want you to provide us with water. Then it will be said to them, drink, and they will fall down in hell instead. Then it will be said to the Christians, what did you used to worship? They will reply, we used to worship Messiah, the son of Allah. It will be said, you are liars, for Allah has neither a wife nor a son.
Liar.
What do you want now? They will say, we want you to provide us with water. It will be said to them, drink, and they will fall down into hell instead. Here we go. When there remain only those who used to worship Allah alone, both the obedient ones and the mischievous ones, it will be said to them, what keeps you here when all the people have gone? They will say, we parted with them in the world when we were in greater need of them than we are today. We heard the call of one proclaiming, let every nation follow what they used to worship, and now we are waiting for our Lord. Then the Almighty will come to them. Here you go, everyone. Then the Almighty will come to them in a shape other than the one which they saw the first time. You get that? The Almighty will come to them in a shape. Allah's a shapeshifter, according to this. Then the Almighty will come to them in a shape other than the one which they saw the first time. And he will say, I am your Lord. And they will say, you are not our Lord, because he's in a different shape. Get it? And none will speak to him then but the prophets. And then it will be said to them, do you know any sign by which you can recognize him? They will say, the shin. And so Allah will then uncover his shin, whereupon every believer will prostrate before him. So Muslims, you better know what Allah's shin looks like, because that's how you're going to recognize him. He's going to pull up his dress. He's going to pull up his dress like Muhammad pulled up his dress for the men of Al-Zut, and show off his shin. Do a little strip tease here, a little strip tease. And so Allah will then uncover his shin, whereupon every believer will prostrate before him. And there will remain those who used to prostrate before him just for showing off and for gaining good reputation. And so, two things here. One, as GodLogic is pointing out, Allah has body parts. Allah has body parts. Namely, he's got various parts and so on, but there it talks about a shin. He actually has to pull up his dress to show off his shin. Is his shin identical with Allah? No, it's a part of Allah. And therefore, Allah is composed of parts, and therefore Allah cannot exist necessarily. Allah cannot be independent because he is made of parts. And therefore, the whole case of Ali Dawah fell apart right there. But also notice the other thing. Allah takes on various forms. If he's changing forms, he's appearing in one way and appearing in a different way. Are any of these forms that he takes necessary? Not if he can change them. If he can change from one form to another, I'm in this form and that form, that means whatever form he's in is contingent. It's contingent. It could be different than it is. But that would mean that Allah is somehow necessary in his existence, but contingent in his form. And Ali Dawah says that's impossible. That would put Allah in the realm of the impossible. And therefore, the Allah of the Quran does not exist. What do we have? The Quran, as it's conceived by Muslims, that has a dual nature. It's the eternal speech of Allah and a physical book. That cannot exist because that's a contradiction. Allah is a contradiction. Allah is composed of parts, and something that is composed of parts cannot be independent. Ali Dawah, this is why I said Ali Dawah is just like absolutely obliterating basic Islamic theology. Basic Islamic theology. This is bad and terrible and sucks. Do we even need to go through any more of that video? It's just the same. Ali Dawah just keeps. Was there anything else interesting in there, Hatun?
You don't want to laugh more?
We could.
I think he's gonna make the point of Jesus. Was Jesus able? Did we do that part? Was Jesus able to? Could Jesus born with like one arm? Did we do that part?
He mentioned that. Yeah, he mentioned that.
Okay. Then I think that's it.
That might be.
Can't remember.
Did you say?
I know he's not answering a question.
I recall they just got to the point where Ali Dawah just keeps repeating himself about the shape, and then he actually shows up at Speaker's Corner the next day to talk about shapes again, like he's on Sesame Street or something. What? This is a triangle.
This gives me an idea to make a parody song about the shape of Allah.
That is.
There's a song called "Shape of You."
You don't know that. All right, let's check these super chats and then.
It wasn't linked with the last hadith you showed. It's not the point I want to make is not linked with the topic we are discussing, but I think it will be helpful for us to kind of remember, especially when we are engaging with Muslims. It helps us to think the character of Allah. Yes, Allah is going through shifting, and he's not ashamed of showing his shin to people, all those kind of things. But
not very modest. Not very modest.
Not very modest. It should remind us Allah is doing this on the day of resurrection. So Allah is intentionally shape-shifting from one to another on the last day to deceive his people on the last day. On the day of resurrection, Allah's character of deceiving is still active and going on. You can't even trust Allah on the day of judgment.
And that is one of the reasons. That is one of the reasons Abu Bakr said, if I had one foot in paradise, I would still fear Allah's deception. They know what he knew what he was dealing with. Well, let's check out some super chats here. Muslims, we will hug him and give him more jizya. That's true. I honestly didn't think people could be this dumb. Face down, butt up. That's the way we like. Ali Dawah opens his mouth. D Wood, wheeze. Yeah. You could say sigh. I have to sigh every time. Buy Hatun baklava only if it's Greek. I heard Turkish. I heard Turks got some good stuff, though. So but I hear that all Turkish food is actually Greek food that Turks stole. So is he saying there's a trinity of existence?
Such a claim should be stoned publicly or crucified. Pick, make your choice, crucified or stoned.
So is he saying there's a trinity of existence? Yep, 3 types of existence, except one of them is non-existence. Logical thoughts. Haram, you see? Yes, logical thoughts are indeed haram. He got the triangle square from Mr. Whitemeat. It's Dr. Whitemeat. No, Sir Whitemeat, isn't it Sir Whitemeat? For anyone who doesn't know that, that's Zakir Naik's famous thing when he's just making stuff up in answer to a question. But, I mean, keep in mind, think that is the pattern. That is the pattern in Islam. Sir Whitemeat is from a Dr. Zakir Naik video where he's responding to some guy, and Nabil added it up and he found 25 errors in a 5-minute clip. 25 errors in a 5-minute clip of Zakir Naik. What's the standard that he's setting? Just make stuff up the entire time. It doesn't matter. As long as you sound confident, that's all that matters. Just, Sir Whitemeat and the great scientist Sir Whitemeat, he discovered it. You're making all of this up, dude. You're making all of this up. That's the guy who set the pattern for Da'is. Fun stuff. I legit feel secondhand embarrassment whenever watching Ali Dawah trying to talk smart. That is true. Someone should show him a speed square. Impossible. Can't exist. I always thought the Trinity was a mystery. Arctic base. Don't listen to him. Hatun, we love you very much. Wonderful to see you smile at those Dawa dumbs. God bless you. The Dawa dumbs. No, the Dawas, they're very smart. Ali has been studying Sir Frank Salisbury. That's another one. Ali Dawah mistook God Logic for the people of Al-Zut. Sheba, oh, that's a super sticker. Thank you. We used to say Ali Dawah may not be literate, but now it may be that he can't count past 3. Ali D. Yeah, he does. What is this? Ali D. Yeah, does this Al-Zut conduit fit in this mohole? What's wrong with people? He's talking about the shapes. Oh, man, this is wow. But the Quran is allegedly eternal, yet it is not God. So is that dependent or independent? You're going to have to ask Muslims what they think of that. Is Ali Dawah a result of Muslim cousin marriage? I do not know, but I have my suspicions. It's a problem of understanding emulsified or something like oil and water. As far as mixing and not mixing, I think I'm having a hypostatic breakdown. Guys, we need to show Ali with some grace. He's still learning his shapes. The hypostatic union might be a little over his head right now. Why is everyone attacking poor Ali Dawah? Guys, it's like you're beating a baby seal here. What's wrong with you? It's like you guys are just got clubs and you're like, look at us beating this baby seal. It's like mean.
I think we are very nice to him. Like AP was saying he would like to sit down with him and then discuss, versus I'm just like, oh, no, he's not that person. I practice that. All I want at this stage is just hold it and shake him. Let's say with me. 1, 2, 3. Triangle, square, all those kind of things.
Oh, just to be clear, I personally wouldn't want to discuss with him. I would suggest that he sit down and actually discuss with somebody who teaches him about, proper theology or something.
Someone who shakes him, maybe.
I don't think I could actually, have the patience with him.
Isn't it crazy, though, that, I mean, think about this. Ali Dawah is still learning basic things like the word, being and shapes and counting 1, 2, 3. But he's sitting there and his main student is his wife that he gave a dry erase board to. So, like, you got this guy still learning his shapes and he's going to be teaching his wife, who can only communicate through a dry erase board. This is like insane stuff, man. This is messed up. Weird. Hypodermic onion or something. Love y'all. Thank you, Jerry. Batman says, just wanted to say God bless to the 3 of you. Don't say 3.
Don't say 3.
Say not
Don't
3.
say 3.
My favorite 2 Turks and my favorite Psycho. Love you all.
Bait.
All your favorites. What do you mean by... What do you mean? You want to read this, AP?
What do you mean equal? What do you mean by truth? What do you mean by good?
That's what Ali Dawah should be doing. What do you mean by being? What do you mean by square? What does you mean by triangle, yeah? What does you mean by hypostasis?
Well, before we talk about what mean means, we have to establish the the hierarchical archetype of the substrate of.
Yeah, continue.
Oh, Ali, you should have stuck with getting graped in the mouth. You're really good at that. I have to say, Ali Dawah is the best at being graped in the mouth by Smiles to Jenna. This was probably Ali.
We saw it all live. We saw it all on camera. We had to see all of it on camera.
Yep. This was probably Ali Dawah's most viewed live. Yeah, he does have trouble getting people watching him live. So yeah, getting logic on there. And that's why, I mean, think about this. This is how hilarious it is. Guys, he amassed well over 1 million followers on YouTube. When he goes live, he cannot get people watching him. In fact, out of charity, we once told some people to go over and check out his live stream, and then like his numbers shot up. But so this is funny. He goes out and then he gets probably his best live stream of all time because it's God Logic there. What does Ali Dawah do? He tries to sell prayer rugs. But then the next day he goes and follows God Logic around at Speaker's Corner. Why? Because he can't get people watching his live streams either without that. So hats off to Ali Dawah for being smart in this sense. Notice, not in all senses. In this one sense, you are smart. You recognize God Logic can help you get someone to watch your live streams. Thank you guys for all that you do. Been following for a short time and appreciate all your work. Also, welcome one to the family of Christ, AP.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dawood, do you consider the hypostatic union to be triangular reasoning? Arctic based with all these non-based jokes. Don't worry, won't tell David you were roasting him. Is that true? It's very rude. Peace of Christ to you. Please, could you talk about the veil of Allah, how a creation can veil the glory of Allah? Is not that a dilemma? Any thoughts on that, guys? I guess the idea would be there is that Allah veils himself and so on. So would the veil be part of the creation or something like that? And then, well, I guess you can't. I mean, yeah, how's that even going to work? Because if Allah's got something on him, that would be contingent and necessary together, and that's impossible.
Well, I'm thinking right now, clearly Allah used some free workers from Bangladesh and then put all that veil together with all that fabric with this slave trades, modern day slavery, all those kind of things.
Allah, 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 chameleon, you come and go. You got to learn that song, AP, because you can sing that. And the whole song, you can do one of your famous music songs. This one would be a parody, and it's about Allah changing shapes and so on. Momo sure was high in the sky during his night journey with Barack, smoking the good chronic Tawhid. Got to get that good Tawhid.
It was a dream, and he peed his bed afterwards. So, which is why it says that his bed was very warm.
Yeah. Actually, that was probably the night of Al-Zut, and he just made up a story.
Makes sense.
The most important geometric shape is the split moon, not by a compass, but by Al-Zut. The two parts are split into congruent parts with point symmetry. Making stuff up. Trying to sound smart like Ali Dawah. Hatun, how do you feel about whiskey pecan baklava? There's no such thing.
If it is, people should be stoned for it. That's just wrong.
Yeshua the King says, will you ever have a call-in show for Muslims? Yes, we will. That will happen. Ali bought God Logic a square toy where you can place a triangle inside of it. Oh, is that what happens in the video? I still got to check that out. I started watching it. But it says, Ali bought God Logic a square toy where you can place a triangle inside of it. Biggest mistake ever. God Logic used the toy Ali bought him to cook him. That's going to be funny. Yeah, I'll be checking all that out. I'll be checking all that out tonight. OMG, I just watched the windmill dunk from the foul line Avery pulled on Ali. That was one for the ages. Ali's example was so stupid, it went all the way around the dumb scale and ended back at genius. That is the only way Ali's going to make any sort of important point, is if it goes, it's so insanely dumb, it goes around the entire universe and comes back as on the genius end of the scale. Hey, David and AP, do you genuinely love guys like Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab since Jesus commands us to do so? Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. It's just the problem is that especially Christians in the West have a messed up view of love, where it's like, don't hurt anyone's feelings and always be nice and so on. And if that's what you mean by love, then Jesus contradicted himself, because in that sense, he wasn't loving to the scribes and Pharisees. He was just brutally rebuking them, brutally rebuking and mocking them. So you have to ask as a Christian, okay, if you're supposed to love everyone, including your enemies, and Jesus brutally mocked and insulted the scribes and Pharisees, was he being unloving? I don't think so. I think Jesus was telling them exactly what they needed to hear. And they were in a really, really, really bad position where you're leading other people astray. That is a dangerous spot to be in. And for your own good and for the good of the people watching, some people need to be brutally mocked and rebuked. Keep in mind, notice the biblical pattern. This goes all the way back. This goes all the way back to the Old Testament. Look at how false prophets are mocked. This is what you find. The people who are on the receiving end, not in the way that Muhammad was on the receiving end on the night of Al-Zut, but people who are on the receiving end of brutal mockery, insults, rebuke, and so on in the Bible, oppressors, false prophets, false teachers, in general, people who are leading others astray. Well, guess what? If those are the people who you would, according to the Bible, mock and rebuke, Muhammad is the supreme example of all time. He's simultaneously an oppressor and a false prophet and a false teacher. He's all the things rolled into one, and he's the supreme example of them. That means if we are to mock, if there's anyone who should be mocked and ridiculed and insulted according to the Bible, it's Muhammad. But also notice, Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawah, these are guys who are leading other people astray. So they are, according to the Bible, the appropriate targets of mockery, rebuke, things like that. And so the only question is, do you think that's loving? I do. I think it's absolutely loving. In fact, if you just let these guys continue their entire lives and let them go on teaching people complete nonsense and leading other people astray, and you don't want to hurt their feelings and so on, I would question whether that is actually loving. Last couple here. The thrill of taking off Allah's veil, hijab, and burqa. Oops, this is a Christian show. Sorry. Yeah, hijab can, I guess, use that as a defense of when he was, Hatun points out, calling him a part-time stripper when he's stripping outside the Chinese embassy, trying to impress all the Chinese people. Look at me shaking my zabubas. People pointed out, hey, what are you doing, man? You're literally stripping and shaking it, sitting there twerking in front of the Chinese embassy. What are you doing? Well, but Allah's going to be stripping on the judgment, so I'm just trying to imitate him.
Allah will be twerking on the day of judgment.
Very good.
Or another way of thinking is, since he's very good observer, not practicing but observing, maybe he observed lots of belly dancers and then get to see them, like how they take off their clothes on, and then he learned shaking stuff.
You got to. You should meme up the Sesame Street counting song for Allah's body parts. Yeah, who is that? I've seen Sesame Street since I was a kid. Is that the Count? Does the Count do that one? That a vampire count? 1, 2, I can't remember it. I was a kid. I'll have to find a clip, but yeah, we can do something with the counting song. And finally, back to very rude Arctic base. Dawood, you have certainty in the Trinity. Certainty. You gotta have certainty ladies and gentlemen. All right, AP, what's going on tomorrow? Tell everyone.
So
Tell
tomorrow
everyone.
we are planning on doing 2 live streams. One of them will be will most likely be with Abdullah Samir, where we will review some stuff with Lily J. Lily J will probably also join us, but not personally.
Little side note. Abdullah Samir just made an awesome quick video, something that AP's done repeatedly, but and other people have done, but just played her asking ChatGPT a question, and then of course he asked ChatGPT the same question, gave a completely different answer because it hadn't been programmed, and then showed that he could tell ChatGPT to answer defending the flying spaghetti monster and so on. And it did instantly. And so it's obvious what Lily J is doing, which is just, she's so fake, the fakest person I've ever encountered in my entire life. When she asks it a question that she's obviously told it how to answer, and then she does that like she's shocked. And it's so like, this is, so what do you got? Muslims, what do you got for Dawah? You got Ali Dawah, who in his favorite go-to argument doesn't even know the basic terms. And if you bring up anything, he doesn't know how to answer, and he can't answer any question. And you've got Lily J. ChatGPT, can you give the answer I programmed you to give? It's pathetic. This is what Dawah, guys, would the truth need this? If Islam were the truth, would it need this? This is beyond ridiculous. So yeah, guys,
and then,
that's the first live stream tomorrow. And then after that,
then we will have another live stream at our usual live stream time, where we will be actually live, David and I, together with Jay Dyer. So Jay Dyer will join us live tomorrow, and we will be live tomorrow, but it's not going to be a bad thing. It's going to be a good thing because...
Oh, it's going to be a bad thing for orthobros everywhere.
No, it's not.
It's going to be probably the worst day for orthobros in the history of forever.
No, it's not going to be a bad thing. It's going to be a good thing because after yesterday's live stream...
It is a good thing, like, because what I was just saying, sometimes you got to brutally rebuke people.
Was it yesterday? Did we do that yesterday?
What? Was that
Did
just
we talk
yesterday?
About Jay Dyer?
Was that just yesterday? Seems like a long time ago. Was that yesterday?
Because after that, I actually messaged with Jay Dyer a little bit. He unblocked me, and then we messaged a little bit, and then we agreed to nicely come together and do a live stream on Monday and just peacefully and nicely talk about things.
Now look at everything you just said. We, as in you and Jay, we agreed to get along and be nice to each other. I agreed to no such thing. So all he can expect from me is war. You heard it here. You heard it here. I agreed to nothing. All right.
Yeah. So
that'll be tomorrow. So guys, everyone, what'd you say? Five on Abdullah Samir's channel?
No, on my channel.
No, 5 on Abdullah Samir's channel.
My channel.
5 p.m. on Abdullah Samir's channel, 8 p.m. on AP's channel.
No, both on my channel, actually.
Oh, both those are in your channel?
Yes. That's what we do. That's what we do.
Wait, 2 live streams back to back?
Yeah.
This should be fun. All right. Hatun, why don't you update everyone? I seen you've been cranking out videos.
Look, I'm working on something right now. Look at this.
What? Hey, quit playing that crap on there. Is that copyrighted, man?
No, it's not. I just made it up. Oh. I just made a parody of the song. It's called Allah Has a Body.
Allah Has a Body. That's good.
I'm still working on it, but yeah.
Sorry, what was the question? I was listening. I just forgot the question. Sorry.
Oh, I said so I asked AP what we got coming up and stuff, and then he's talking about the live streams. But yeah, tell everyone what you got going on. I said I've seen you cranking out videos pretty regularly now.
Yeah, so I just recorded another video on this triangle square thing. of GodLogic and Ali Dawah. I scheduled that for tomorrow. I've got live stream with Robert Spencer at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I will be in Michigan for a couple of days after that, and then preparing for some events.
Good. And I'm thinking, ladies and gentlemen, because I want to make a video for the morning, since I'm going to be up all night, might as well make a nice video about all the stuff that's going on. I think I'm going to make that video tonight, unless I go through the clips and I see something more interesting. But I definitely want to respond to Ali Dawah saying that GodLogic is mean and hangs out with mean people who don't have the great behavior of Ali Dawah and his friends, who, interestingly, have the worst behavior of any people I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've been to prison. Anyway, last comment here. Karen says, maybe you could do another video with comments from ex-Muslims to encourage the troops. Oh, you mean like I used to post videos where I'd take screenshots of people commenting that they left Islam after watching my videos? I've never been crazy about it. It's like bragging. Aha, look at this. I only used to do that because all these people back in the day used to send me, David, it's wrong and immoral what you're doing. You should never criticize Muhammad or the Quran. This will only drive people away. It will never work. And I would say, okay, how do you explain this? And I would post a bunch of comments from people who left Islam after watching my stuff. So, but fortunately, that doesn't happen a lot anymore. It occasionally happens, but people have caught on. So if you go back 15 years, it was standard. I got that all the time. David, you're doing this all wrong. How dare you criticize? I've been told you never criticize Muhammad or the Quran. No Muslim will ever listen to you. That's what it was like 15 years ago. Now, not so much. People have caught on. No, blasting away at Muhammad and the Quran, that's massively effective. Last one. You see Chris expose Bobby's perspective. I saw he's been posting videos about Bobby perspective, and then Bobby like threatened to sue him or something like that. I haven't seen the video yet, but yeah, that's on. That's over there. All right, everyone. See you tomorrow. You said 3 tomorrow, right, Hatun? For you and Robert Spencer?
Yes. 3 p.m. with Robert Spencer.
3 p.m. with Robert Spencer for Hatun. Then me and AP and Abdullah Samir and probably Mrs. Friendly Ex-Muslim, 5 o'clock. And then 8 o'clock. You're muted.
And then we have something very special coming up this week, too. So.
Oh, yeah. Something special coming up this week.
I'm getting baptized.
What? Come on. Not getting baptized, man.
I just wanted to say it. I'm actually getting baptized this week. So
I thought you're not telling anybody.
I'm telling now, so I don't care.
Okay. So, yes, AP is getting baptized. We'll see what happens there.
I just decided to say it, so yeah.
You just randomly decided to say it. AP is getting baptized. And right before that, tomorrow, 8 p.m., Jay Dyer's about to get baptized with the truth and reality.
Ooh.
As I tell him all about the Orthobros. Last one here. Last June, I told IP that the I in LGBTQI was Islam. I was a prophet because since then, we've learned of the Hadith of the men of Al-Zut. Also, if you don't have money for your jizya, sub for free money tips. If you don't have money for jizya, sub for free money tips. This is from Fizz's Free Funds. All right, everyone. Lots of stuff coming up tomorrow. Lots of stuff coming up all week. And now you've heard AP's baptism is coming up. I will, as far as I know, if I'm allowed, I will be recording it. So I'll post it for you all to see. And then all the atheists can cry themselves to sleep.
You see.
Catch y'all next time.